Fox Sports welcomes you to Michigan International Speedway. On Father's Day, NASCAR, a sport built on the foundation of a father teaching his child to drive. In a few moments, you'll see drivers like Dale Earnhardt Jr., whose car has a special paint scheme. Call it a family flashback, honoring his grandfather and his father. America's top drivers on display today, just down the road from the birthplace of the automobile. There is a chance of rain in the forecast. The start of the race moved up just a bit. Thunder showers in the area, but ready for racing. The place where America gathers every weekend. We welcome you to the Hollywood Hotel. Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. In memory of Leroy, your dad, Jacques, your dad, my father still watching, Eugene, Bill Richards' dad, our pre-race show producer. My dad always said, get a legitimate job, and I'm still fooling him. But we wish you happy Father's Day. All right, so we're ready to race today. A lot of dads will be watching closely. Here we got guys on the outside, Biffle, Edwards, Jeff Gordon, outside that top 10. Talk about a pressure point race today.
Well, it is. It's a critical race. It's a critical race for Jeff Gordon because, listen, even though he's on the outside pole, you'd say, oh, Jeff's on the row. He's not on the row. He's qualified there 4 or 3 other times. He's got to turn that front row starting position into a great finish today if he wants to get back in the chase. And old Biffle, all he's got to do is be Biffle. Go out there, drive that wheels off that thing. He's got 80 bonus points. That's more than anybody else has got. How do he get them? Leading laps and winning races.
Well, the good thing about this race is I think it's an easy race, Darrell. When I think about the racetrack itself, it's wide. It's very easy to get around as far as getting the thing, changing different lanes. It's easy on the engines. I mean, it's relatively an easy race.
Well, I would disagree with you a little bit, Jeff. It's an easy track, but it's an aggravating track to race on. You on the restarts, particularly starts and restarts, you're all bundled up in a big wad, and people worry you to death. They'll draft on you, they'll bump on you, and it's an aggravating place to race. Right, you can lose your cool easy here.
One of the fastest tracks in NASCAR. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin has gone from an injured hand to a hot hand, and after his first ever win, Cup win at Pocono, he had a chance now to be the first rookie to win back-to-back races since Tony Stewart did it in 1999. Now, his parents, Hamlin's parents, maxed out their credit cards to support Denny's racing career, and it's paying off big time.
Starting on the pole, Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin is the fastest car on the racetrack.
Look at him flapping in the wind, baby.
The leader's in trouble.
Hamlin, the rookie, spins out while leading, falls to 40th, then wins the Pocono 500.
And Denny Hamlin in his FedEx car joining us from down on the track. And congrats and thanks for being with us. You know, you played that video game to simulate Pocono. Talk about what we could expect today and how comfortable you feel here at Michigan, Denny.
Yeah, this is definitely the first time here at Michigan. But, you know, first things first, got to say Happy Father's Day to my dad.
All right.
You know, we all know that they gave up a lot for me. But, you know, last week was a great week for us. It took Monday or Tuesday for me to realize that I won that race. And, you know, of course, you can go from hero to zero in racing in a hurry, and we found that this week. It's just we have not got a hold on this racetrack yet. We've been struggling all through practice, even qualifying. So I think we're the highest Gibbs car in practice at like 30th. So we definitely, as a team, got a little bit of work to do. But you know, I'm sure Mike Ford and those guys can get it figured out by the day's end.
Okay, Hamlin, hold up that hand, that bad hand. Hold it up there.
We're good now.
Now, tell the folks at home, I know that's where they put that computer chip. I know that's a bionic hand. I mean, what else could it be?
You know, I have no idea. It's you know, it seems like ever since that happened, we've just been on a roll, and it's really hard to explain. I mean, I don't know whether it's just focus or what it is, but or coincidence. But these last month and a half, 5-6 races, my team's done just an excellent job getting us top 10 after top 10, and you know, we got on a roll and got inside the top 10 in points. Now we just got to work on staying there, and the only way to do that is stay out of trouble, don't get any DNFs, and have great races like we have the last 5 weeks.
Well, Danny, you and your crew chief, Mike Ford, you've had a great season, but isn't it the fact that you had to go to bat for him? Otherwise, you wouldn't even had him for a crew chief this year.
Yeah, you know, there were talks of him leaving and that, but you know, I told JD and expressed to him time after time again. I mean, I brought JD into my motorhome 2 or 3 times and said, I'm telling you, this is my guy. I feel it with Mike. It's not too often this happens. And I had one other relationship like that, and that was my crew chief, Rodney Estes, in the late model series that you just gel with. And you got good chemistry. You just can't buy it. You can't anything. You just got to have it. And I have it with Mike, and he's starting to understand every week more and more of what I'm saying. And we just keep getting better.
All right, well, good luck today, Denny. Thanks again for your time, all right?
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
luck, buddy.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Tell Big Daddy happy Father's Day, too.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. last year called him the most underrated driver. Pretty good judge of talent. Here's what's around the turn as we continue on our pre-race show from Michigan. Adam Sandler will get the race going. He's the Grand Marshal for today. Also has a movie out. DW kind of took the idea and he'll tell us what's clicked and dipped so far in the NASCAR season. Also, we'll have gas and go. You've got questions. Our guys have answers. And you want to know a burnout? DW and Jeff show you.
Come on, baby, light my tires. Try to set the tires on fire. Yeah, baby.
One of my fondest memories with my dad is probably, say, the first trip that we went to Oskaloosa, Iowa, racing go-karts. We left with a little bitty truck and a little wooden trailer and went out for a week of racing in Iowa out in the scorching sun and heat. So I think that was probably one of the first trips and most memorable trips we ever had together.
Two-time champ making his pop proud. Tony getting ready to go 400 miles around this 2-mile track on Father's Day. Time for the Fox Flash. NASCAR news and notes of Casey Mears, driver of the Ganassi 42 car, going to Hendrick Motorsports to take over the 25 car next season. Brian Vickers asked Hendrick out and Casey jumped in. Bill Lester today, his second start of the season from row 17, the first African-American to start at Michigan since '86. Earlier in Atlanta, Lester finished 38. In the Busch Series race in Kentucky last night, Jeff Fuller Rex here suffered smoke inhalation but has since been released from the hospital this morning. David Gilliland went on to win, the first Busch Series driver full-time to win the race. Time now for Gas and Go. You've got questions. Our guys have answers.
All right, get ready.
Ready for you, brother.
Get ready, Hammond.
You're on the clock, DW. You have 15 seconds. How will Mears fill in or fit in at Hendrick? In other words, how will he blend in?
You know what I'm thinking about? We saw McMurray leave there, and boy, he's had a little rough go of it. Casey leaves there. We're going to find out how good Ganassi stuff is when Casey leaves there.
And, of course, Kyle Busch, a friend of his, said he already has friends in those places. All right, let's go on to Jeff. That's a good thing he does. Jeff, do you think drivers with new contracts next year are going to finish out with their old teams, guys like Jarrett, Casey, even Vickers, or will they jump early?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's a good question when you think about the fact what happened a year ago with Jeff Burton in particular, or a couple years ago whenever he left Roush and went to Richard Childress Racing. I look for these guys to maybe try to opt out if they get that opportunity. What would be wrong with making a change?
Let's make a deal.
Right.
Let's make a deal.
Darrell, 15 seconds. We touched on Jeff Gordon coming off the hardest hit, he says, of his career. Will he miss the chase for the second year in a row? Give us a yes or a no and why or why not.
Today, I said this, today is the most critical race that he's going to see the rest of the year, because next week he goes to one of his favorites, the road course. The next week he goes to Daytona. If they can get that car right today, he's in.
All right, he's outside the top 10 right now.
Sure,
We even had a second to spare. All right, Jeff, here we go. Big F. Will we start to see a Roethlisberger-type rule, Ben Roethlisberger, Steeler quarterback, for contracts, drivers racing in other series? In other words, wearing a helmet, safety issues, worried about getting injured outside of the sport?
I don't think so. I think most of the guys that drive race cars, believe it or not, they work with a new law. It's called the law of common sense. These guys understand the risks that they take, and when they do something, I think that they kind of weigh it out, the pros and the cons. We keep these guys pretty active all the time, so fishing's about the best thing they can do.
Good job. And Roethlisberger, released from the hospital, said he's going to wear a helmet next time he rides a motorcycle.
He just wanted everybody to know who it was.
Continuing from Michigan, counting it down to the race. Hey, don't click that remote. In a moment, DW will click his remote to recap the season. This is NASCAR on Fox. The NASCAR on Fox pre-race show is sponsored by Vanilla Mint Listerine. Less intense, equally effective. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes or grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Q, the heat-activated oil that helps maximize power. And by Sprint. Get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel from Sprint. Checking points, race 15, as we welcome you back to Michigan. And Jimmy Johnson, teammate of Jeff Gordon, remains in first place. Matt Kenseth has gained 61 points on Jimmy in the past couple of races. Denny Hamlin in ninth place, the highest he's been in his career. No rookie has yet made the chase. Denny may be trying to change that. All right, the upcoming movie Click which begins June 23rd in theaters. It's another Adam Sandler special, kind of a comedy, but kind of a lesson in life where with a remote control, he can click, stop, fast forward, go. And there is the Grand Marshal, Adam Sandler. And, you know, his producer dropped by the Hollywood Hotel a little earlier, Daryl, and gave us the remote control from the movie Click. And I thought I'd hand it over to you to see what you'd want to do with that.
Well, I have
Are
been.
you sure you know what you're doing?
I don't know.
I have been assigned. I am the keeper of the Click.
All right.
And I want to show you what I can do with my new toy.
I love the movie. Let me see what I can do with the season. I'd like to fast forward Jamie McMurray's career with Roush. I mean, folks, they hired him to win, and he better do it soon. Hey, folks, I'm going to let this one play because I love to see Jeff Gordon get fired up. If I could delete anything, it'd be all those Tony Stewart crashes. I mean, I know he's a tough guy, but tough guys have got their limits. But you know who I'd like to slow-mo? Casey Kane. The kid is having an incredible year. Let's all enjoy it. This will be fun. I'm going to rewind Carl Edwards to last year when he was winning. I could do this all day. I love great finishes. I'm going to pause that. I mean, look how close they are. Now this remote has a skip button on it. Now, I'm not real sure what that does, but I do believe Michael and Dale Jarrett would like to skip forward to next year in their Toyota rides. Pit strategy, I'd sure like to turn the volume up on that one. The old mute button. Now, you know, you might say, well, we can mute out some of those crazy things drivers say. Me?
I think I'll use it on my two buddies over here. More time for me. Do you believe in magic? I do.
Who would you talk to if you muted us out?
Don't worry. Don't worry.
I want you not to give it Tony.
Don't talk about me, baby.
NASCAR on Fox. We're racing 400 miles in Michigan here on Father's Day in a moment. To honor his father Dale and his grandfather Ralph, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s 8 car carrying the logo and designs that bring to mind the cars driven by his dad and grandfather. Both men drove the 8 car at one point in their careers. Junior getting ready to go today. Steve Burns is standing by with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Steve?
And thank you, Chris. This has not been a good race track for you, Dale, but I heard you say in happy hour yesterday this is the best car I've ever had here.
Yeah, it's great. Handling good yesterday. A little bit different temperature and track conditions today, but you know, hopefully everything's just about the same. We were real pleased yesterday with the times we were running. We were one of the best cars.
All right, good luck today.
And Dale starting from row 3. All season long, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond have taken you along for a ride to learn the ins and outs on every track today in their Richard Petty driving experience car. The guys wanted to let off a little steam and prove where there's smoke, there's tires.
I've been waiting all season. You've been promising me we're going to get to do a burnout here this year. So show me you can do one. Woohoo! Now that's what I'm talking about, baby.
Yeehaw! Come on, baby, come on. Light my tires. Come on, baby, light my tires. Light my tires, baby. Melt them down. Smoke them up. Come on, Jeff.
Woo! Woo! I'm telling you, I can't see where we're going. Watch out for the wall. Woo!
Da-da-da!
Woo!
Yeah.
The race fans love you, baby. They love it.
To burn. Come on, baby, light my tires.
And I'll
Come
get
on,
you a
baby,
step
light my tires.
Woo!
Try to set the tires on fire.
You guys.
No, look at that right there. Look at that mess right there.
Darrell, did you make that?
You did a good job. You did a good job.
I did it. You know, I've only ever done burnouts in parking lots. I've never done one in a race car on a track before.
Do you realize how close you come to tearing the King's car up with that left rear tire? You just about destroyed a left rear tire, a brand new left rear tire.
I'll be getting an invoice for that, I reckon.
I guarantee that.
Put that on your expense report. See how they go. All right,
it was fun, though. I love that, man. That's cool.
Oh, you won here a couple of times at this racetrack. You and Jeff touched on it a little bit. We have threatening weather. It's a 400-mile race. Guys may be thinking about, hey, we're starting a little bit early. I got to get to the halfway point. It does change your perspective.
You know, it's always something. The whole thing about it is now you not only got points race going on, I got to get in the top 10, I got to stay in the top 10. Now we got weather involved, and are we going to race 200 laps? We're going to race 100 laps. What are we going to do here today? Very confusing when you go get in that race car.
But the thing is, Ronnie, you talk about weather. Yesterday, it was hot. It was slick. Now, this racetrack is very temperature sensitive. You've got a lot more grip. Is your car going to be tight? And do not, I repeat, do not forget one equation, part of this equation. Fuel. This race has been won several times with fuel strategy, so it's going to be real important today.
And we were talking about on Father's Day, obviously, I was asking the guys here, what do you think, how many guys, their dads actually involved in racing? We were saying probably about half the field, but it goes way beyond that, generation to generation.
Yeah, I mean, and almost every driver, I guarantee, had someone that took them to a track when they were a kid, whether it's their dad, maybe it's their grandfather, maybe it's an aunt or an uncle, but somebody took them to the track. That's where that interest started, and they peaked here at this track today.
A lot of influence right there as we watch a lot of these guys being shown here today. You know, Casey Kane, everybody has somebody who leads them into this profession, and most of them will tell you they're really happy about it.
Darrell heads up to the broadcast booth. Jeff and I will watch the race from the Hollywood Hotel. On this day, your mind does race toward thoughts of Dad, leading with words, guiding by example, and through all of life's adventures, cheering and inspiring us. Happy Father's Day from Michigan. Let's head down to the track for opening ceremonies.
Race fans, would you please rise and remove your hats as our nation's colors are presented by the paratroopers from Company F, 425th Long Range Surveillance Company from Selfridge Air Force Base. And here to deliver our invocation, Pastor Daniel Schultz of Michigan Raceway Ministries.
Father God, we come before you this afternoon to thank you for this day, for your protection for the drivers, their crews, the fans, and the workers here at MIS. Father, we also pray for those serving in the armed forces, that you would protect them and their families as well. And last, I pray that we would all know your love today as we experience the passion and excitement of NASCAR. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing now for the Canadian National Anthem, performed by MIS's own Lisa Bascom.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' commands. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Lisa Bascom, ladies and gentlemen. And now for our national anthem, here's Lyric Street Records artist Josh Grayson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that that star-spangled banner yet wave. O'er the land of the free, in the home of the
Josh Grayson, a former American Idol contestant, the Singing Marine. We're 65 miles from Detroit, about 70 miles from our neighbors to the north, Canada. And getting ready to go 400 miles, weather permitting, here at Michigan.
Scattered, smothered, and covered. I'm a professional cook.
Hey, I know you. You're the maitre d'.
Can I help y'all with something? Can I help serve? Can I help with these potatoes?
All right, enjoy here. Oh, okay. All right, that's good. Thanks again, Mike.
How would you like your chicken? We're serving it rare, medium rare today.
This would be Chris Myers eggs. Extra cheesy.
Why don't you go way down there somewhere?
I think your project is way down here. It has your name written
Here.
all over.
I don't see a grill down there.
Where's Hammond? Look, I brought something really good.
Yeah, DW, boogity, boogity, boogity this.
And we welcome you back. Michigan International Speedway getting ready to go racing. Let's join Mike Joyp on the broadcast booth. Mike, I don't think we're going to be invited on the Iron Chef anytime soon.
Cleanup detail, Chris. Hard to say. Kasey Kahne strapping in. He will start this race from the pole. This area of Michigan is called the Irish Hills. Rolling hills, lots of farmland, lots of small lakes. It's kind of a playground for folks in Metro Detroit. So nearly 40 years ago, they designed and built this, the first of the modern super speedways. Garage is big enough to hold tractor trailers, suites on the inside as well as the outside of the front straightaway. And it became a great success. In addition to IndyCar racing and other forms of motorsport, they've had 74 Nextel Cup races counting today, and there are 11 former winners in the field. We'll see rabbits, and we may see some tortoises, but the fellow who is best on the long run, Larry, may well prevail today.
No question. We may see Kasey Kahne, Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon jump out there and run those fast laps, but the man starting in 20th, Matt Kenseth, I watched him yesterday. He didn't run that fast lap, but he was good on the long runs, and we do have long green runs here.
That's right. 3 times this race has gone caution-free. Amidst a few sprinkles and raindrops and some heavy rain to the south near Indianapolis, we're set to get this underway, and hopefully the vortex theory will go to work here momentarily. Drivers and crews at the ready. Get things going here in just a minute. What about Kasey Kahne in that car that was crashed pretty hard yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, he has not been back on the racetrack since they put a whole right side on that car. They had to check all the suspension. Pretty hard lick off turn 2, but they elected to repair the car rather than go to a backup.
And alongside him, Jeff Gordon, trying to get his season restarted. There's Gordon's teammate, Jimmie Johnson, the Nextel point standing leader, hoping to stay on top. And there's Gordon, whose car seemed to take a long time to go through inspection this morning. It was the last car to be brought to its position on the starting grid.
It's a brand new race car. In fact, Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon both have brand new race cars, but I couldn't agree more than what Darrell said in the pre-race show. This has to be a day where the 24 car cashes in on that front row start if they indeed want to make the chase for the Nextel Cup.
And in the race to the chase, which ends at Richmond, Michigan is the one and only track that beginning today has 2 races to go before we find out who gets to race for the Nextel Cup. Chris?
All right, thanks, guys. They're not holding the command because Adam Sedler's the Grand Marshal. He didn't click it and pause it. There's some rain in the area, so we talked about thunderstorms, the possibility. They're hoping the rain moves through. We talked about officially Jeff Hammond, it becomes a race at the halfway point. Crew chief, does that affect your strategy?
Definitely so, Chris. And when you're sitting out there, a lot of these drivers, crew chiefs, engineers, they're already starting to think about what's the car going to be like after yesterday's final practice. Are they going to make air pressure adjustments to start this first part of the race? What kind of track conditions will they find there? And also, as you said, halfway may be what these guys are now looking at. 201 miles instead of 400 miles. Again, when you get up on the wheel, starting up front could be key today. Larry talked about Matt Kenseth coming from the back. How about Ryan Newman? He's starting way back further than that after having his trouble during qualifying. So you got to think all these things and kind of put them in the hopper and give them a spin and see who comes up with the best strategy early on.
A lot of drivers anxious to get going. A number of storylines, including the weather. We'll update that. Check in with our pit reporters down on the track in just a moment.
One of my fondest memories with my dad is going to the race shop with him when I was little. I love to do that, but there are a lot of fond memories away from there too, on the golf course, just relaxing, having fun, just hanging out.
Yeah, we welcome you back to Michigan. Dale Jarrett's father, a two-time champion, Ned Jarrett. Of course, Dale, a champion himself. Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL. Slight delay here at the Michigan International Speedway to the start of things because of the weather. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, the proud sponsor of the Budweiser Polo Award, given to the fastest qualifier each NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race. Budweiser congratulates Casey Kane, the fastest qualifier for this weekend's race, and the latest Budweiser shootout eligible driver. And 3 of his career wins have come from the pole. Our pit reporters have everything covered. Let's get the latest from down on the track with Dick Bergman, Steve Burns, and Matt Yoakum. We'll start with you, Matt, out on the front row. What's going on?
Well, sprinkles are still hitting the pit road, but when you look back to final practice, Casey Kane would obviously love to hit the reset button. A little slip off the corner, Casey. What happened in final practice on lap 4?
I was real tight, and I gave it more wheel, and the car just, the back end came around and hit the wall and tore the car up pretty good. So it was too bad. We missed about an hour of practice. The guys did a great job of fixing this Dodge Charger up, and you know, I think we'll be fine today. It's just a matter of you know, getting the balance right throughout the race.
Real quick, are we seeing guys move even higher than the traditional Richard Petty high line that you like to run here?
Yeah, it seems like people are getting higher and higher here, and a lot of racetracks we've been going to, everybody's getting higher. So it's just makes it harder to pass on the bottom when cars run up high beside you. They get a lot more momentum, and this is a great track to have momentum. So we'll see what we can do. We got Click on the car. Adam Sandler's here today, and it's a great new movie. I saw it this week.
3 of his 4 career wins have come from starting on the pole, and that's where he rolls off today. To Steve Burns.
Thank you, Matt. 5 straight finishes of 8th or better have vaulted Greg Biffle from 23rd in the points all the way up to 12th. He's also won 3 of the last 4 races, or 2 of the last 3 races here, and was a good bet to win 3 of 4. Everybody in the garage pointing to the 16 car yesterday after practice, but I talked to Greg just moments ago, and Greg, you said that you were going to be the fastest car if it was hot and sunny, but we don't have that today.
No, we don't. It's unfortunate. I really want to race today on Father's Day. I think I got a really good car. I may not be as fast when it's not hot and sunny. My car works very well for some reason at this racetrack when it's slick. And even if it's going to be cool and overcast, about lap 20 on, the racetrack kind of gets slick. So I was talking to Martin Truex yesterday in the truck race, and he said it was very slick in the sunshine. So hopefully this thing it'll clear up. The skies don't look that threatening. I know the radar does, but it looks pretty light when you look up in the sky. So hopefully the rain will get out of here and we'll get to race.
Greg, we talked to you earlier in the season, and you talked about keeping the team's morale up and the fact that you guys were running good. You just weren't getting the finishes, but those good finishes, they've turned around. 5 straight finishes of 8th or better and a win. What do you attribute that to?
You know, just hard work, the whole team. You know, Bobby, the car chief, he just works his butt off every week, and Doug, and you know, I'm just so proud of my team because they work so hard and they give me great race cars. Like this car here is just a great race car, and we just don't give up attitude. Last week at Pocono, it was so easy. You know, we had brake problems, had to bleed the brakes, and then we had a flat tire with less than 10 to go and had to pit under that caution and able to get back to 6th. Just the team just keeps digging and digging and never gives up, and I think that's you know, a sign of what it takes to win championships and run up front in this Nextel Cup Series.
All right, thank you, Greg. To the editor of Speedway Illustrated magazine, Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Gordon is starting on the outside of the front row today, but he has had a tough time here for the last 2 June races in a row. Last year, a flat tire during the running of the event, and frankly, the team just missed the setup. They finished 3 laps down in 32nd spot. The year before that, it started out terrific. He won the pole, led the most laps, but kaboom, the engine failed. Today, as I mentioned, on the outside of the front row, that's a good part of this story. He's won twice here, but the best part of the story, my friend, is that you're here, you're healthy after that huge hit at Pocono. How hard an impact was that?
It was a very hard impact, but you know, thanks to this amazing carbon fiber seat and got some DuPont Kevlar in there as well. So, you know, the guys on this Hendrick Motorsports DuPont Chevrolet just built an awesome race car, very safe race car, not to mention the safer wall barrier. And, you know, I came out of it surprisingly well. I think a lot of people, after they saw the telemetry and how big of a hit it was, that they thought I was going to be in a lot worse shape than I was. So it's been a good week, and to come here to Michigan, one of my favorite racetracks, and sit out here on the outside front row, we've been having some fun this weekend. I hope it continues.
Any questions at all about your ability to finish this race? Are you physically okay?
Oh, I mean, I feel 100%. You know, again, I'm surprised because I saw the wreck, I felt the wreck, and I couldn't believe it myself. Neither could the doctors. But you know, everything checked out good, and you know, by Wednesday, I didn't even feel like I'd been in a wreck. So it's pretty amazing, the technology these days. But once I got in the race car, that was the true test, and I felt great on Friday and felt good yesterday, and looking forward to this whole day and getting this DuPont Chevrolet dialed in for this big, fast racetrack.
Now, crew chief Steve Letarte said the car is a total loss, but look at this. This is the carbon fiber headrest, and that's what kept Jeff Gordon's head inside the automobile. The big, heavy seat belts as well, and the Hans device and his helmet. All that stuff is being sent back to manufacturers so they can see if they can learn anything more about it. The car, Chris, they're going to have to cut it up. It's complete junk.
All right, thanks very much. And Dick Berggren, happy 42nd anniversary. His wife, Kathy, Monday they celebrate. It's a lot of good years together. And I guess Moses was the best man at the wedding?
Well, listen, Chris, I've been gone for at least 25 of those 42 years, so it hasn't been bad for me anyway.
All right, but you've been at the racetrack. At least she knows where you are. All right, thanks. And congrats. We mean that. Hey, Jeff, on what Jeff Gordon, 64 Gs, the impact, and able to walk away from that. But the bigger concern for Jeff now that he's okay is, hey, I want to win some races here. You talked with Robbie Loomis, the guy who worked closely with him for a lot of years, who had an interesting spin on whether Jeff, you know, what kind of driver he is at this stage of where his career is.
Well, I think that the key thing that I was learning today in talking to Robbie Loomis is about, you know, what do you think about where they are after last year, after you leaving there? And he was telling me one thing that he thought was real important, and I think we see more of that now with Jeff Gordon than ever before, is that Jeff has got more of an open mind. A lot of drivers, Chris, when they've had as much success as he has had at all these different racetracks, you're looking for a certain feel. And a lot of people say, well, he runs good, then he gets off a little bit. That razor blade that we work on with these cars nowadays, if you get off one way or the other, all of a sudden you could be a tenth off and look terrible. So what Robbie was saying, I feel like Jeff Gordon can get in a race car. If, say, for example, he doesn't win the race today, whoever does win, he can get in that race car and go win in it. It's just a matter of trying to get that feel out of his head and get the feel that's necessary to get to victory lane. And people might say, well, that's kind of confusing, but sometimes the cars feel bad.
Right, it's a different.
It's a totally different feel. This coil binding, we've talked about it many, many times, can really upset what a driver is used to feeling because it's a totally different feel. But it is the fastest way to go win a race, especially in a place like here at Michigan. You're going to see a lot of cars and I think Darrell and Larry, they talk about it all the time. The attitude, the way the car looks around the racetrack, this is what makes these cars fast.
Right, your attitude's been a little lately, too. I wanted to
talk
to you.
Okay.
Working next to me. We'll do that. Greg Biffle won this race last June. You heard him tell our guys a moment ago he's anxious to get it in. He had the fastest car in yesterday's final practice session, moved up 11 spots in the points chase last month, and Greg has said that he, on his website, he said he tries to avoid the TV camera. He's not a laughing, acting, corny kind of person.
Like you?
we were surprised when he agreed to sit out and go 10 laps with us. Do you have any nicknames?
I don't think so. I've kind of picked up the Biff a little bit last year.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
How about the first concert you ever went to? Do you remember?
I think probably the first concert I went to was probably Motley Crue, I think.
Oh, okay. Greg, with all the changes, crew chiefs, drivers swapping around, is it good for NASCAR?
I think it builds kind of excitement and that unknown factor in the sport of who's going to succeed, who isn't.
Pressure gauge, scale of 1 to 10. Greg Biffle is an aggressive driver.
I'd have to say probably 8.
8, okay. Greg Biffle does hold grudges against other drivers.
2 or 3.
Greg Biffle would rather fly than drive.
10.
10, okay,
Yeah,
so you love flying.
Yeah, I love to fly. I'm flying my own helicopter now, learning how to fly it. Now I'm soloing and flying it by myself, but I enjoy. I have 3 airplanes, or 2 airplanes and a helicopter.
Greg Biffle getting ready to roll here. He's been hot, trying to work his way into the chase for the championship. A little bit of a rain delay to the start of things, but good to have you with us. Here from Michigan, you're watching NASCAR on Fox. Glad to have you with us on this Father's Day from Michigan. The 3M Performance 400 slightly delayed the start of things. Thunderstorms in the area, rain falling lightly on the track. Let's join the guys upstairs. Mike, Darrell, and Larry.
Thanks, Chris. One thing we've not yet touched on is how important this race is to the auto manufacturers. Detroit is Motown, not just for the record label, it's the Motor City. It's where Ford built his first mass production auto plant, and the rest of the industry kind of congregated around the greater Detroit area. And the big 3 are still there, Chevy, Ford, and in this case, Dodge. This race is always so important because all the big VIPs come out, they bring their concept cars, and they all want to go back and be able to have the bragging rights on Monday.
Well, I think it's still that philosophy. If it wins on Sunday, it's going to sell on Monday, and I think that's why all that effort's been put into this race over the years. Plus, I mean, I can't tell you, we always come to Detroit. Whatever brand you're driving for, they have a day for the employees. We'd take our cars, put them on display, we'd sign autographs, and really try to make it a special day, not just for the fans here at the track, but for the people that helped build those cars that we were going to race on Sunday. The morale and involving employees, I think, is a huge part of our sport and certainly of the auto industry.
But I've got to say, in 1991, we were leading this race with Davey Allison in the 28 car. About 10 to go, I looked down off the pit box. There was Edsel Ford standing there going like that. It's like, we might ought to close this deal out here today and go into Victory Lane and have an Edsel Ford stand there beside you getting Victory Lane photos made. I mean, that was pretty special and pretty neat. You could tell how much it meant to him that Ford did win the race that day.
Well, it's a home game. I mean, basically, that's the way they look at it. We look at Charlotte, all of us live there. Most everybody does. They look at that as a home game. But the manufacturers, this is their home field. The only thing is that there's about 3 of them that share it.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of extra pressure here with all those folks in attendance, especially when it gets to be budget time for 2007, Chris.
All right, and once we do get rolling here, they're all chasing Jimmy Johnson, points leader. It's narrowed a little bit with Matt Kenseth as we addressed, but let's head down to Matt Yoakum, who's with Jimmy Johnson.
Well, he's lost 61 points to Kenseth over the past 2 races, but when you rolled off the truck, Chad told me this has been the best Michigan so far you guys have ever had.
Yeah, practice and qualifying, we've been real competitive. Cars responded to changes, and we've been, doing good things with the race cars. So it really has been. Hopefully we can get this race in. In my opinion, and I know the team's opinion, this has been a track that we've had some trouble at, and a track that's really important for us. We come back the second time, we go into the chase from here, or shortly after. So we need to make sure we've got our stuff right, and that we're on pace for here, also Indy, Pocono, and keep the momentum going so that we can enter the chase where we need to be.
Chad told me at the beginning of the year, one thing that he really wanted to work on this year was you guys are always so strong, able to come back from problems, but when you hit those peaks and valleys, he wanted to try to flatline that more. Do you feel like you guys have accomplished that so far this year?
Yeah, I think so. I think each year that's gone by, we've learned a little bit more about ourselves, about the race team and the sport, and I think that this year we're a lot more even-keeled, even with the highs of winning races like Daytona, the All-Star event. Those are great things, but our eyes are really on the big prize, and we're not going to enjoy anything until we win that championship someday, whenever that's going to be. Until then, we're just going to work hard and never take our eye off the ball.
No one has ever been more excited than your father, Gary, when you've gone to Victory Lane, whether in Busch, Nextel Cup. What's been your most favorite memory with your father?
I would have to say when I was younger, when I was maybe 8, 10 years old, racing motorcycles, when it was raining on days like today, I knew that my dad, working construction like he did, that he would have the day off, and that usually meant he would come take me out of school a class or two early, have the motorcycles in the back of his pickup truck, and we'd go off and go riding. So rain days in the past used to be good for me. Now we just sit around and don't do anything.
Well, hopefully we can get this rain to cease and we can get the cars out on the racetrack. Chris?
And we wish a happy Father's Day to Gary Johnson, his dad also, Angelo Basili, and Bill Kempner, and Richie Zions, our coordinating producer. He sits in the back of the control room and says, take a break. His family called and said, don't mention Dad's name. He's very shy, so we won't do that. But happy Father's Day, all those dads that work on the weekends. I know we're in trouble. You're with me, no matter what happens. All right, so Jimmy Johnson said something interesting this week about points racing, that he said not only stay in the chase, right, that's one goal, but also with the top drivers, try to limit the number of guys. It's their responsibility to keep more drivers from getting in that top 10 in the chase. Isn't that a little dangerous?
Well, you'd like to kind of like pick and choose the guys you got to beat. I mean, let's face it. When you know how strong, let's say a year ago, the Roush guys are, you would like to keep as many of those guys like a Greg Biffle or a Carl Edwards. You want to keep them out because you never know exactly how good they can be, and they can always have the threat of striking and stealing wins away from you. So Jimmy's probably looking at it like that. The key thing, I think, with Jimmy Johnson is the fact that I believe this year, if I had to use one word to sum up what I'm seeing here, is resiliency. I mean, they have the ability, again, to rebound from no matter what the situation is. We keep going back to the Daytona incident. When they've had a bad race, they come back. These guys, I think, they're on that kind of a, mission to finally capture that gold ring at the end of this rainbow.
They don't want to be like the Indianapolis Colts and have a good regular season and then not get the championship. But we'll continue. Slight delay here because of the weather. Adam Sandler will be joining us in the Hollywood Hotel. Don't hit the pause button. No remote switch here. Click is playing at a theater near you.
Plans to catch?
Yeah, but your kid stinks.
A regular Derek Jeter right there.
Welcome back, NASCAR on Fox. Adam Sandler, star of the movie Click, the Grand Marshal for the race once we get going with the slight rain delay here. Funny stuff. He laughs at anything. Don't use him as a judge. Okay. I'm kidding.
I'd like to do that to you sometime.
I'm sure you would. Well, Darrell already has. Thanks for joining. You've been on Letterman, Leno, and now you're in the Hollywood Hotel in the rain in Michigan.
I like it here.
You do? Okay.
I'm upset that it is raining. I feel bad for the fellas. They were all ready to go, and next thing you know, they're hopping out, going to the bathroom again.
Killing time.
Killing time.
But your first NASCAR race was last year. Describe what it felt like to you to watch it, why it reeled you in.
That was overwhelming. Talladega, lots of people. Ate a lot of turkey legs, and people screaming loud. It was, and I met all the gang. It was cool. Yeah. They were very nice to me. And when I just saw them all before, it was like we were old friends. Some of them just stared right through me. They had the game face.
What about you and Casey? I mean, you were down there at the car a little while ago. It looked like you were. He was basically showing his race car and talking to you a little bit, I think, about what was going on. So
Absolutely.
What was the question about?
He was just from Talladega. I got to know Casey a little bit because he, when I was doing the longest yard, he put the longest yard on the hood of the car, and now he put Click on there, and we got to know him over the past year or two. And he was just. I met his pop today. His pop was really nice. They're hanging out for Father's Day, and he just talked a little about the car, how fast this car is. This is a killer car, huh?
Yes, he's on the pole.
Yeah.
He's
very
on
fast.
The pole. Yeah, I saw him win get the pole the other day. That was pretty cool. And I don't know. He's just calm and cool, nice kid.
Good guy. By the way, happy Father's Day to you. Your first official
Thank
Father's
you. Yeah,
Day.
I'm away from my kid today, but my first one. But happy Father's Day to everybody out there. You guys too.
And your producer you went to college with is also had a child. I forget his first name.
Yeah, that's Jack Garapito.
Okay.
He knows you very well.
Yeah, Jack we're real close friends. He brought the remote up, and I wanted to mention because people like when you stick with the guys you grew up with, you came up with.
Yes, I did.
All your success, you didn't bail on Jack.
I can't bail on now that he has a kid. It's even more pressure.
The pressure's on.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of sports movies, right? From Happy Gilmore with golf, The Longest Yard, football. How does NASCAR anger management might be a NASCAR
Don't forget
movie.
the Water Boy.
Right, Water Boy.
Yeah.
Something you know about?
That's right.
Exactly. He was a great Water Boy in the day.
That was my position. I know.
No, I'm looking forward to Will Ferrell's movie. I'm not I'm becoming more and more of a fan. And
what kind of car do you drive? Or
I got that Cadillac Supercharged thing. Holy, that thing's fast. And that was the best because my wife was having a baby. You know,
got to drive to the hospital?
I got to like just zip along there. I think I opened it up pretty fast. Not like the boys, but pretty strong.
Well, have you ever had an opportunity to like go one of the driving schools or get that experience?
I get so nervous.
If I'd have been thinking about this, we could have got you in yesterday morning with DW, and you could have done the ride and drive.
That would have been good. I like DW. Yeah. I done a pretty fast go-kart thing one time.
That's a little different, I think.
My butt was kind of dragging and sparks were flying.
So when you get movie ideas, now Click is kind of, what I like about this is that it's not just kind of funny, but there's the old message in there. It's a wonderful life kind of thing that if you change things in your life, right? Little things that you think are annoyances, it changes. What are you smiling at? That's why I'm here. I'm trying to figure out why I'm here. So you see your real life at all like that? I mean, you've had kind of an interesting stretch through entertainment in Hollywood.
Yeah, the movie does teach a lesson. It's good. It's good to be with the family. It's good to, you know, there are going to be moments in life that you're not that psyched about having, but you know, you always get to a good moment. And in real life, no, I had a pretty damn good life so far. Everything's been good. I wouldn't fast forward anything. You know, I lost my pop. I hate that. And like anybody who lost their father, I would, if I had the remote, I would rewind to that, to hanging out with my dad again. Fair enough. But everything's been good for me.
Well, what about, you know, as you look forward? I mean, it seems like every year you've got a new movie coming out, you know, this year with Click. What's in the upcoming projects?
You know, Kevin James. Kevin James and I are doing a movie in September, and that'll be a comedy. And I shot a movie earlier this year with Don Cheadle, probably the heaviest thing I ever did before. It's not a full-on comedy. There's funny moments in there, but it's a pretty serious movie. But
worth asking if you want to venture into serious acting and not comedy. Is that dangerous?
It happens on occasion. A director writes something or talks to me and says you want to be in a movie, and I respect the guy's work and what he's done. I say I'll give it the best I can do, but I am more comfortable in the comedy zone.
All right, well, we thank you for stopping by.
Thanks a lot.
The movie Click. We go way back to Opera Man on Saturday Night Live,
right? A long time, Chris.
Your roots. Jack, thanks for your producer. I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Yeah, Jack Garaputo, folks.
Adam Seller, the Grand Marshal. He'll officially start this race when the weather cooperates.
I'll get it going.
We'll continue here from Michigan. It's NASCAR on Fox.
Right on, guys.
NASCAR Next Up Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by GM. Same company, new tune. By Subway Restaurants. Subway, drive hard, eat fresh. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Sears.
One of my favorite memories with my dad is being on the four-wheelers at the old hunting club. I used to race him on the four-wheelers. He used to be Mr. Serious and say we had to be quiet, didn't scare off the deer, but I was always the one that wanted to race him on the four-wheelers, and it was cool that he actually let me ride my own at such a young age, so that was probably one of my favorite memories.
Denny Hamlin, the rookie, the FedEx car, hoping to win back-to-back races. Last time that was Tony Stewart did that back in 1999. Let's check in now. And speaking of Tony Stewart, we're going to check in with Dick Berggren. Let's check in with Dick.
Yeah, we're just sort of sitting on pit wall here, and I got to tell you that the weather is really improving. Got a nice little breeze. It's drying out. Hanging out with Nelson Stewart and his kid here, this fella named Tony. What kind of a kid was he growing up?
Rotten.
How so?
He was just ornery. He was full of vim and vigor, just like he is now. Practical joker.
What did he teach you?
What did he teach me?
Yeah, I mean, sons teach their fathers. What did this guy teach you?
Boy, that's a tough one now. I don't know. I'd have to think about that, Dick.
All right, we're going to give you a chance to do just that. Tony Stewart, what did he teach you that you have kept with you all these years, and it's a lesson even to today?
Well, watching how hard he worked, it showed me that I was definitely too lazy to work a real job, so I needed to make this racing gig work out and try to make a living doing it instead. But now we've had a lot of fun. I mean, this is our 27th year racing, and we started when I was 8 years old, and was very fortunate. I had a father that and mother that basically spent everything they made, so we could go-kart racing and travel all over the country, and it paid off. So definitely was able to to finally turn that around and get his racing career resurrected to a certain degree, and got him a Legends car about 8 or 10 years ago, and so now he's now I babysit him on race days sometimes.
Well, we know how good you are. How good is he behind the wheel?
It depends on whether you ask him or me. I mean, he thinks he's pretty fast, but no, I mean, I don't know too many 68-year-old guys that could still get in behind the seat of a race car and you know, still get the job done. But he has a lot of fun, and that's the main thing right now, is that, you know, every time he goes out there, he has a good job or has a good time, and you know, brings it back in one piece.
Let's go back to Dad. Speaking of bring it back in one piece, it's been a tough month. A lot of really, really hard wrecks. Do you worry about this guy racing cars?
No, I really don't, Dick, and I never have. The only thing I've ever really worried about was him getting to the racetrack on time.
And you know, now he's got PR people to take care of that for him.
That's what they get paid the big bucks for.
All right, you've had a good long while to think about it. What has Tony Stewart taught you? What are the valuable lessons your kid has taught you?
Well, it's going to sound funny when I say this, but he's probably taught me a little bit of patience. You wouldn't know it to watch, but when the way I used to be and the way he was, one of us had to learn. So I don't know.
Father and son, Tony Stewart and his dad, Nelson. Steve?
Thanks, Dick, and happy Father's Day to Jerry Burns and John Burton. Now, Jeff, you're 7th in points, top 10 finishes in 7 of the last 8 races. We talk momentum in the sport all the time, and it seems like you've got it right now, and your race team.
Well, we do. We're real proud of the team. We've worked really hard, and you know, we've got good equipment and got great people, and you know, we've had some things go our way, and we just need to keep doing it. We need to keep trying to get better and keep improving. But you know, I want to say happy Father's Day to my dad. I love you very much. And one thing I've noticed today, a great inequality in the garage, is that poor Katie Kenseth has to sit up there on the pit box. Matt won't let her sit with the rest of the guys. She has to sit up there with a little bitty umbrella. My wife on the other end there, we picked our pit before we did because we qualified better than he did. And anyway, she's got a condo down there, got a refrigerator, microwave, air conditioning. I think the fans need to write in to Matt and ask him to treat his wife a little nicer.
Yeah, that's tough business. Now, what I want to talk to you about, the business at hand, 162 races between wins. You've got 17 Cup victories. Can you break that here today? Looks like we're going to go racing.
Well, you know, I don't know. We're going to try hard. And, again, I have all the confidence in the world in this team and in the equipment we've got. And, you know, if we keep putting ourselves in position, then those things will come. But the key for us is just keep putting ourselves in position and keeping good cars and continue to work together well. And, you know, good things will happen.
All right, good luck on this Father's Day. Back to you, Chris.
Hi, thanks, Steve and Jeff. And we have time. What a perfect time for the singular virtual crew chief question. Will a rookie make the chase for the championship? You know where Denny Hamlin is right now. You'll see him in action today. If you want to vote, prompt to answer, text the word crew, God bless you, to 191 on your singular wireless phone, or log on to foxsports.com/singular. Part of our Hollywood.
You're working on your comedy routine some more, right?
Part of our Hollywood hotel crew sneezing. But the rain has lightened up there. They're drying the track. We might have these cars rolling in about 10 minutes. I don't want to get our hopes up. But there is the rookie, Denny Hamlin. I'm going to get our hopes up.
Yes,
our hopes
the answer
are up?
to the question is yes.
The answer is yes. All right, well, you have to hang around and watch to find out. Nice to have you with us here. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Welcome back to Michigan. We're going to go racing here in just a couple of moments. A slight weather delay. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and drivers getting in their cars, getting ready to fire the engines, waiting for the Grand Marshal, Adam Sandler, to give the command. Next week, our Wendy's race menu will take us to Milwaukee for Busch Series racing. Saturday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, otherwise known as the Mike Steepak 250. Johnny Sauter won that race last year. Next Sunday, Nextel Cup Racing from Sonoma, 3 Eastern, the Wine Country, noon Pacific, Tony Stewart, beginning his great run. Last night in the Busch Series at Kentucky.
We had a lot of action up there at Kentucky on the pole with Denny Hamlin. He takes off early, but you'll notice the 60 car, he breaks the transmission. That was Carl Edwards. Ended his night pretty soon. Kevin Harvick, a point leader, he gets loose, spins around. Then Reed Sorensen coming down pit road, misses his pits, kind of had odd parking, but the 38 car right there of Jason Leffler gets in trouble, but in the 34 car of Jeff Fuller hard into that inside wall. And Chris, I mean, it was a long time getting him out of the car, but
He suffered a smoke inhalation, taken to the hospital, released this morning. So Jeff Fuller coming out of that hard wreck. And meanwhile, David Gilliland passing J.J. Yaley and hanging on for his first victory and the first Busch Series regular victory. And David Gilliland, a 2-year varsity golf player on the same team in high school in California with Tiger Woods. They were never partners on the same course, though. But Gilliland enjoying victory on this weekend. As we got a look at the Busch Series points through 16 of the 35 races, let's go upstairs, talk to Darrell Larry and Mike. Also, we got, I guess, 8 drivers in today's race, Mike, that were at the race in Kentucky last night.
None of them as good as David Gilliland. And Chris, he's not even a Busch regular. His Clay Andrews Racing team runs just a handful of events. He comes out of the NASCAR West Series. Got Billy Wilburn for a crew chief, Cubby Barraclaw on that team. Jerry Nadeau is his driver coach. And Larry, I think for the Busch Series, last night was the shot heard round America. I mean, just an unbelievable victory. You could have got really long odds on David Gilliland last night, but boy, he was good.
No Cup affiliation whatsoever. No. They actually even build their own engines. And this race team, it was not even put together until mid-January. But to me, it's incentive and motivation for the local short track racers out there. I called Brandon last night. I said, Brandon, you see, if you want it bad enough, you surround yourself with the right people, anything is possible in NASCAR.
Well, and the other thing I think is you do one thing and you do it right. They do Busch racing. And I know there's 8 guys that go back and forth and do that every week. And, yeah, they're going to win every now and then because they got such great resources. But that's a team that sticks to what they know, do the Busch car, and you may end up in victory circle.
And they're crawling before they walk. They didn't dive in here and try to run the whole schedule. They do not go race until they know they're prepared to go to a racetrack. And they were fast all weekend, fast in practice, qualified 4th. That was not a fluke. David Gilliland winning that race last night by no means.
No, and very good news about former modified champ Jeff Fuller. That was such an unbelievably hard hit, and I'm told he has wrist and hand injuries, but released from the hospital this morning, and that is great news, Chris, as we get ready to go racing here in Michigan.
Thanks, Mike. And you guys getting ready to call the race. Kasey Kahne on the pole. Jeff Gordon also on the front row. Can the rookie Denny Hamlin go back-to-back? Well, it's a good thing that spelling bee was last week. Pole sitter Kasey Kahne ready to click it forward. Fans from all 50 states at 12 foreign countries ready to go racing here in Michigan. Here's Adam Sandler.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome back Bob McDonald from 3M and our Grand Marshal, star of the new movie Click, Adam Sandler.
Thank you. Thank you all. Happy Father's Day to everybody, to all you dads out there. To the men and women overseas, we love you and thinking of you. Can't wait for you to come back home. And one more thing. Gentlemen, start your 100!
We're about 30 minutes behind schedule. 400 miles are what is scheduled. Let's get the latest from our pit reporters who have been working down on the track, getting ready for this race along with the drivers. And we'll start with Dick Bergman. Dick?
Well, thanks, Chris. Michigan International Speedway is a big, wide racetrack. Plenty of room to move around. We have very few accidents here as a result. Therefore, we have very few caution flags. History shows, indeed, that events here tend to have about half as many caution flags as events at other racetracks. What that means is far fewer pit stops under cautions. We may only see 4 pit stops today. So if a pit crew messes up one of them, it has messed up 25% of its pit stops. Not like a racetrack where you're going to have 10 or 12 of them. Mess up one, you can make up for it later. And this, get a lap down with as few caution flags as we have here, very little chance to get the free pass and get that lap back. Strategy here is a bit different than elsewhere. Let's go to Steve Burns.
And thank you, Dick. Young Brian Vickers drives the number 25 car for Hendrick Motorsports. He has not won a Nextel Cup race in his brief career, but he's been close on several occasions. He will leave this team at year's end, but he's determined to get his first win. He has a special relationship with car owner Rick Hendrick. Rick's son, Ricky, handpicked Brian Vickers to drive this number 25 car, and Ricky was killed in a plane accident several years ago up near Martinsville, Virginia. 10 people perished in that plane crash. Brian says he does feel a little bit of relief that he will be leaving this team, but he wants to win a race for car owner Rick Hendrick. I talked to tire specialist Lisa Smokestad moments ago. She said the changing weather conditions could actually help them. This race car will have more grip. Matt?
One driver who is really excited about today's race, Carl Edwards, one of 3 drivers last year to finish in the top 5 in both Michigan races. Now, he got back last night about 1 a.m. after the Busch race, which was disastrous. Right from the start, he lost his transmission, finished 36, hoping for better things here today. And what a climb he has made through the championship standings after really a tough start to what he had high hopes for this season. He is now 13th in the championship standings, about 122 markers out of 10th, and this guy is really excited about today's race. The sprinkles, they have pretty much ceased. Let's get this race rolling. Mike Joy?
That race in southern Michigan. After a brief set of showers and the track quickly dried, most engines have fired, and we're just waiting for the field to roll off. There's the retro paint scheme for Dale Earnhardt Jr., evoking memories of his grandfather, who won a late model sportsman national championship in a creamy white number 8 with a red numeral just like that one.
Glad you're watching with us from Michigan. Michigan International Speedway becoming the 3rd largest city in the state. More than 130,000 fans here weathering the slight rain. We're ready to roll. Let's join Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
We're halfway through the first of 3 pace laps. Darrell, in practice yesterday, we saw bottom feeders, we saw rim riders, and we saw drivers trying to master the middle. How long before we get a sense of what's going to be the winning groove today?
Well, one thing I like about today is the weather. Now, I know we don't like it when it rains, but this is an equalizer. It doesn't hurt anybody. It helps everybody. So this is my favorite kind of conditions to race in. Cloudy, overcast, a lot of grip. Go where you want to. Pick a lane, go.
It may be an equalizer, but this morning in the garage area, crew chief were scrambling because they know the handling characteristics of these cars are going to be much different than it was in that 90-degree weather yesterday. So a lot of scrambling this morning. This is our racetrack keys right here. 200 laps, 400 miles, pit road speed 45 miles per hour. The pit window for fuel, always be critical, 45 to 50 laps. You heard Dick Bergman talk about it, fuel mileage strategy. Remember, that's what won the race for Jeremy Mayfield, the 19 car, here in August. Chasing the weather, 2 different ways. We're chasing to make sure we can get this 400-miler in, but you're chasing also the handling of your race car because of the weather. You know what, DW? I can make changes every pit stop. You may have to help me out a little bit, like Mike pointed out, moving that car around to find where it likes to run.
Yeah, this is a big, wide racetrack, and you can do it.
A lap and a half before we go green at this somewhat unique D-shaped 2-mile superspeedway, twin to the track in College Station, Texas, and much like the one built in California, east of Los Angeles in Fontana. With a lap and a half before we race, we talked to some of the top Nextel Cup drivers and got their impressions of what you're about to see.
Michigan is definitely a challenge.
By probably the first lap coming by, you're going to see 3 and 4 wide down the front stretch.
It's a racy racetrack because you can run the top, you can run the middle, and you can run the bottom, and it gives you a lot of options.
If your car's not handling good, you can move around and
hunt around to find a line that'll help your car handle or get through the corners a little bit better.
Before the day's out, you're going to see drivers in cars on the very bottom of the track, but you're also going to have a guy that's almost scraping the rear bumper on the wall on the outside, which is 5 lanes up from there.
That's the best part of the race, is really right after restarts, man. You know, you get cars that are in the back, they got to get to the front. You get 3 wide. It's a lot of action.
There's tons of things that go on at Michigan that make it so fun to race and to watch.
Originally, this event was the 600-mile race, the Yankee 600. Cale Yarborough, the first winner here over Leroy Yarborough. That was back in 1969, the first time NASCAR came to the Irish Hills.
Follow up a little bit on what Larry was talking about, fuel strategy. What you're going to see a lot of times mid-pack back, you're going to come down pit road. If you don't do anything but just hook that gas can up and top that tank off, because that'll be critical later in the race.
Never pass a chance up to take fuel on.
I don't care if it's but a gallon. Come in, get that gallon, because it may make the difference.
There you can see the difference right there, not only in the ambient temperature, but as well as the track. Huge difference from Friday qualifying, especially the practice yesterday.
But Larry, I mean, I'm serious when I tell you, it only makes it better for everybody. You don't have to make that many adjustments because you just pick up more grip. That's all you do.
One car will go to the rear. Brian Newman replaced a transmission. He had spun in qualifying and was going to start 42nd anyway.
That was wise on their part then.
Happy Father's Day to everybody out there.
How about that sign, guys? Isn't that sweet? Race fans are special, aren't they?
Yes, they are. We're a mile away from the green. All of our NASCAR on Fox onboard cameras, including the pole sitter, Casey Kane, top center.
Should have your favorite driver in there somewhere.
It's a big unknown for our pole sitter, Casey Kane. You heard Matt Yoakum talk about it. A lot of repairs to that car since he hit the wall in practice yesterday. Well, DW, she's going to have more grip. You know what more grip means? More speed. And you know what? Every once in a while, you might be 5 wide down this front straightaway. So you better reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Happy Father's Day, guys, and let's go racing.
Starter Brian Vickers' car took a while to get up to speed. The drivers in the outside lanes had a little advantage through turn 1 and 2. And Vickers drops in behind Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. in 5th. Kane had no trouble establishing his lead right from the drop of the green.
No, and he come off turn 2, where the last time he came off there, it wasn't very pretty. Right now, things are looking pretty good for him, though. Other than that orange flame kind of glowing in his mirror.
Riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. here in the Budweiser car. The 8 car told his crew in yesterday's practice, don't touch it. I'm happy with it. He's backing it up so far.
Got a challenge for the lead right here, guys. Jeff Gordon looking underneath.
And Gordon gave him turn 1 on the opening lap. And this may be a give back, maybe not. Let's see if Gordon holds the lead.
No, Gordon's that much quicker, Mike, and I like his race car. It's the first time in weeks I've seen his car down against the track, sealed off, aerodynamically the best I've seen that car all year.
Trouble turn 2. One car spins down to the bottom. It is Gordon.
I just think I am amazed every time one of these guys. He didn't hit anything. Every time these guys spin these cars out, now they don't back them up in the fence. They save them.
But what I like about the backstretch at Michigan is all that runoff area that's pavement. There's no grass even over on the backstretch.
Really, really slow, buddy.
Helps in 2 ways. The car doesn't get upset bouncing through the grass and get air under it. And also, when you can slide on that asphalt, you scrub off speed.
Yeah, and the reason they're telling him really, really slow is they don't want that tire to come apart and tear a fender up or something. So limp her back.
Look just straight ahead from Jeremy Mayfield at that bright greenish yellow car.
Just stepped out, got down in the corner. Round she came.
From Michael Waltrip. First caution of the day out very early in Michigan for Robbie Gordon's spin.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By AOL, want a better high-speed internet? You belong at AOL. By Wendy's 4 new Friscata sandwiches. Do Wendy's, do what tastes right. And by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. This is Budweiser. This is beer.
Happy Father's Day on Kenny Schrader's number 21. And a lot of those signs throughout the grandstand here at Michigan. Cleaning up the first caution of the day, Robbie Gordon's made numerous pit stops to fix his car. And let's answer our first singular virtual crew chief question. 84% of you say yes, at least one rookie will make the chase.
And we actually have one in the top 10 right now, Denny Hamlin in 9th.
Well, I think we said all along, Larry, that rookie would win a race and a rookie would be in the chase. Of course, we didn't know it would be the same one, but
might be. Here are the positions in the Nextel Cup standings of the 6 Rookie of the Year candidates. And David Stremme got a good boost here on Friday when he lapped the field to win the Hans 200 ARCA race.
And then honestly, when you look at those points there, we only have 2 that's a possibility, I think, of making the chase. Denny Hamlin and Clint Boyer, who's got to be spot on these remaining 12 races until we get to the final 10. See Greg Biffle there in the 16 car. As far as a fast lap in practice yesterday, pretty much in his own zip code. He's moved up 4 positions since the start of the race, from 10th to 6th. Winner of 2 of the last 3 races here.
Getting set for the restart to begin lap 7. Jeff Gordon, who has led 18 different Michigan races, brings him down to the green.
I think the question for Jeff, we see him every week now. We've seen him do this time and time again. Out front, he can drive away. They got to keep him there, though, or else that's going to be the test to see if he can come through traffic if they get back there later in the day. Boy, look at that 25 car, Larry. He was gassing her up through the middle of the corner. Brian Vickers.
Good run in the middle of the corner of 1 and 2.
Dale Jr. wisely gives him a little room there because it's a little loose getting into turn 3. Fights back on the outside. Should have the advantage because you get that momentum off of turn 4.
And Darrell, we're seeing that at more and more racetracks where if you can keep that car on the high side on the exit of the corner, you carry that speed all the way down the straightaway. Talked to some guys this morning, and I think a lot has to do with the gear rule NASCAR has. You have to run a little bit higher gear than they would normally run, so you have to keep it wound up on the high side. Yeah, you hear guys all the time talking about kind of interesting term, roll the corner, so that you don't slow the car down. With the brakes, you just let it roll through there and keep the momentum up. Momentum racetracks, momentum racing.
Look at J.J. Yaley way up in that high groove in that green 18. Runner-up last night in the Busch race in Kentucky. And he was there right from the drop of the restart green flag. Trying to climb from 12th where he restarted. Now fighting for 10th. Kurt Busch working underneath in the 2.
I think that car on the outside, he found that outside groove already, surprisingly. Dirt track racer J.J. Yaley got the high groove working. Might make the pass stick here.
Mark Martin coming with him in the 6.
Yeah, Mark really fell back at the start of this race. He's qualified up there in the 8th position. He fell out of the top 10. Now he's working his way back as he battles Kurt Busch in the 2 car. This is a battle for 12th.
I think there's probably a big sigh of relief down in that 9 pit, Casey Kane's team. After the damage that car suffered in practice yesterday, to see it up there running as well as it is. I think that's probably Ray's probably saying, we got it right, boys.
3rd place.
And you know, Darrell, we've talked a lot about Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Of course, he's much further back in points than Dale Earnhardt Jr. But I think if Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 group, if they can have a good run at this type of racetrack, this has been the Achilles heel for them, I think they will solidify that we are a championship contender.
Guess what?
It's raining again. Pace car will pick him up down in turn 1. Kasey Kahne led the first lap, and Jeff Gordon has led thereafter. Let's go down to the pits of the pole sitter, Matt.
DW, you were talking earlier about Kasey Kahne. That's exactly what he told him under the last yellow. Says the car is great. Nice job fixing it. He also says that the racetrack has so much more grip than it did Saturday afternoon. The front and back of the car really sucked right down into the pavement, and he likes how that 9 car is. Steve?
Matt, Dale Earnhardt Jr. pretty happy with that number 8 car. He said the car is good getting into the corners, a little bit snug in the center, and he said I'm sliding the right rear off of turn 2, but he said on a scale of 1 to 10, he said not even a 1, just telling you what the race car is doing. He likes that race car.
"11 laps, caution for the second time. The first one for Robbie Gordon's spin, and this one for another rain shower as these clouds continue to drift through and across southern Michigan." Looking out Dave Blaney's roof cam.
Dave back in the 35th position right now. You can see the rain hitting his onboard camera there, and I think we're going to go ahead. Looks like we're going to see some cars go ahead and hit pit road, and this is what we talked about. Dick Bergman, these are guys going ahead and making adjustments, getting that fuel.
Dick?
Mark Martin basically left this decision about whether to pit or not up to Pat Tyson, his crew chief, to that.
Looks like almost half the field chose to came in, including Kyle Busch, who was running up in the top half dozen, and Kevin Harvick.
And they're not coming in and putting on rain tires.
No.
That we don't run rain tires in the NASCAR. The cars are too heavy, the speeds are too high, the tracks have too much banking. They just don't have a tire capable of holding these cars.
Although, might we see rain tires next week if necessary on the road course at Sonoma?
I think they kind of forgo that program. Decided it just wasn't worth fooling with. Now, me and Hammond might run rain tires next week.
Hammond will run anything.
Mud grips.
In one lap, we'll go back under green. Half the field pitted. David Stremme has come back in. The 4 back in of Scott Wimmer. Derek Cope has taken his Royal Administration Dodge to the garage. And Matt Kenseth has been in a couple of times with right front end damage on his Carhartt 17.
Now, once you get into that topping off thing, you got to come every time. Like if they give 1 to go, you got to come and get topped off again. If they give 1 to go again, they're waving it off now. Next time I give 1 to go, got to come again.
You see all of that patch material on the right front corner of Kenseth's car. Steve, what's up?
Mike, here's what happened. Matt Kenseth came down on pit road. They took right side tires only. As he was exiting, he hit the 23 car of Bill Lester, who's pitted right in front of him. In fact, here's what Matt told Robbie Reiser, the crew chief, about the damage.
Oh, all right. Gotta watch that. Go ahead and fix the right side. Just take your time. Put 4 tires on, fix the fender.
Now, the frustration, Steve, and Matt Kenseth's voice right there comes from the fact he puts that on the shoulders of the spotter and the crew chief to be taking care of him in part of those situations. Steve, the best thing that could happen is just tell him to stop before that lick.
That's exactly right, Larry. Matt Kenseth is coming back down pit road. In fact, the end of that radio transmission, he told Robbie, he said, you've got to watch that car for me. He said, I can't see everything. He was telling Robbie Reiser, who's atop the pit box, watch the oncoming traffic for me.
Now, if you're Robbie Reiser, you're watching the car, your car, and you're saying, okay, go. The spotter upstairs is watching the traffic coming in. There's just that brief moment in time when you can't get to him to tell him to stop.
Robbie Reiser, Matt Kenseth's crew chief.
Since Lester has pitted 1 pit box in front of Kenseth, Lester was trying to enter his pit as Kenseth pulled out into the driver's door.
When they drop the jack on these cars today, these guys are sitting here with the engine turned about $8 grand. And when they drop the jack, they pop the clutch, they take off like John Force. So it's pretty hard to whoa it up in a short distance.
And you know, this year, guys, we have seen more problems and mistakes on pit road than I think we've ever seen. Why? Because these guys know if they can pick up one position on pit road, that's one less position you've got to try to make up on that racetrack.
And I think the other thing that happens too, Larry, is all these pit stops are orchestrated. Everybody knows what their job is. But the ones that really have problems is when all of a sudden something doesn't go right. I don't know if they have plan B or not. But some of these guys can do plan A, no problem, but then they get into plan B and they don't know what to do.
Pretty good sized pit road here with pretty good sized boxes. Really hard to get in trouble here.
A close call for Matt Kenseth and Bill Lester. We're under caution. Thursday in Dearborn, Michigan, 450 Ford Motor Company employees gathered to honor their NASCAR teams. All of Jack Roush's Nextel Cup drivers were there, as was Elliott Sadler. As part of the festivities, Edsel Ford presented Jack Roush with the company's highest award, the Spirit of Ford Award. Here's where the Roushketeers are running early on in this race.
Not too shabby right there, guys, this early.
And that's actually the points as of right now.
Set to go back to green.
Boy, Jeff Gordon spun the rear tires on that restart, Darrell, as he accelerated.
Yeah, with the little moisture we've had and as damp as it is, probably just the tires had no heat in them.
We see that a lot at this type of racetrack on restarts.
See that a lot when you got about 850 horsepower in second gear.
At 7th place, oh, look at this, 3 wide. Sterling Marlin outside, Kurt Busch on the bottom, BJ in the middle.
And when you're that guy, Sterling Marlin on the outside, you're saying, please don't push up because I'm coming through.
This is a battle for 5th right here. Greg Biffle in the 16 car. Not surprised to see this going on. Remember, fastest in both practice sessions yesterday. You go back to the sister racetrack at Fontana, California. Pretty much had those boys wore out until the engine let go.
I'll tell you what, he has done an incredible job, Larry, to get himself back in this championship chase. 5 races ago, he was 232 points out of 10th. And in 5 races, he's made almost all those up.
2 cars coming hard right behind them. Jeff Burton passed Bobby Labonte a lap ago. And now Labonte gives way to Burton and to the 18 car that Bobby used to drive, J.J. Yaley, behind Burton.
You know, watching J.J. Yaley in the 18 car, even in his interview from Kentucky last night in the Busch Series race, he said he just wished his Cup car was just a little bit like his Busch car. I think this could be one of the cars that's being a beneficiary of this cooler weather. More grip, fixes some problems.
Kasey Kahne looking back after the lead, but those two have company. Dale Jr.'s in the picture.
Well, you just think about it, Larry. At 92 degrees, can you walk across your driveway barefooted?
Ouch,
no.
Quickly.
70 degrees? Not too bad. I'll run and get the paper, dear.
Budweiser car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. You see him right there all over the back bumper of Kasey Kahne in this 9 car.
That baby's lurking right there is what he's doing.
And to update you, Matt Kenseth made multiple pit stops. They checked the toe in, found that was fine. They changed right side tires, did a little more patchwork, but he's back underway as again Kahne looks for the lead in the backstretch.
Yeah, Kasey moved up to the high side that time off turn 2, got a pretty good run off turn 2. It carries all the way down this backstretch. Looks like Jeff really drives his car off in the corner a little deeper than Kasey Kahne. Look at how high they've already moved up the racetrack here just 20 laps into this race.
Scott Briggs trying to hold off Carl Edwards. 12th place. Martin Truex there as well.
Good run for Martin Truex Jr. Had a good qualifying run. Qualified there in 11th. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s teammate. Not surprised to see him running good. Another team that needs a good run.
Tell you what, Kahne gets off of turn 2 so much better than Jeff does. Now, Jeff's a little bit better in 3 and 4, seems like. See Jeff fight back on the outside. Maybe he'll give him room, maybe he won't. No, he won't.
Look at the run Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car got on the high side, pulls right up to the rear bumper of the 24 car Gordon.
Well, that's one thing about this.
Turn 3, one car spins, hits the fence, hits Tony Stewart. Clint Bowyer gets a piece of him. And Stewart was caught up in a gaggle of cars and making no forward progress. They were racing 3 wide all around him. And it's Tony that ends up in the fence.
Now, Tony, he was one of those cars that pitted on that last caution.
I wonder if he had a problem, O'Leary, because he was kind of falling back. I don't see any right side tires down.
Battling Jeff Green.
Jeff Green just gets into him. That going into turn 3 here is a difficult place to go in there side by side. And here comes Blaney or Bowyer, and he gets a piece of him.
And as he was sliding down the racetrack, a lot of other cars coming at him.
Stewart has brought that car back to the garage for repair.
You just see right here, Tony's going down in the corner. The 66 of Green's under him, and they just clip. They just touch. That's all it takes at 200 miles an hour. You just get real loose under somebody going into turn 3. When you got a car on the outside, it'll suck you right into it. Man, it's holy cow.
And that was not a light hit. Now, Stewart has been on the recovery trail from that shoulder injury a couple of weeks ago. We'll try to update that story for you. First, here's Steve.
And Dale Earnhardt in his pit stall, Mike, he said his car is a little bit free, but he likes that. He said the only place he needs help is from the center off of turn 2. Matt.
And leader Jeff Gordon in the top left of your screen. Air pressure adjustment for Gordon. The car just a little bit on the tight side. Meanwhile, Kasey Kahne, the very first pit stall on pit road, air pressure adjustment as well. His car was good, but needed to be a little bit better. Mike?
Looks like Jeff Gordon may have, or Kasey Kahne, won the race off pit road.
Look at Ryan Newman in that 12 car right there, gained 18th position. That tells me probably Matt Borland made the call. 2 right side tires only in fuel. Looks like about the top dozen cars stayed out, but that was cars that pitted at last caution. This is exactly what they were looking for.
Tell you one thing, they put a fast transmission in that 12 car, didn't they?
At 23 laps, how is Tony Stewart's car and how is Tony's shoulder? We'll find out when we come back. Clint Bowyer's made a couple of pit stops. Tony Stewart is in the garage. We'll update that story in a moment, but first, we're ready to restart at the end of 25 laps.
Kurt Busch in the 2 car running in second. He's coming on the pit road. He must feel like he's got a flat tire or something as we restart the race.
Hey, right side, guys, right side.
He should be able to get back out without losing a lap as we go green. And Kurt's younger brother, Kyle, leads Kevin Harvick, Casey Mears, and Jeremy Mayfield.
The blue wheels.
Steve?
Mike, they changed right side tires. Kurt said he just couldn't trust the fact of whether or not it was a flat, so to be safe, they changed the right sides.
But you're right, Mike. It's going to be close, but he should be able to stay on the lead lap, so certainly Kurt would love to see a caution right now.
Meanwhile, Tony Stewart has been under the front fender, wielding a sledgehammer and trying to help repair the damage to that Home Depot Chevy.
On the left-hand side of your screen, you see the battle pretty much back there about in the area of 15th, 16th, 17th, like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brian Vickers working their way back through the field. These were all cars that made a pit stop under that caution.
Right with Jeff Burton, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon just ahead.
Jeff Gordon's car today gets in the corner better than anybody out there. He can fly down in the corner. Now, he looks a little tight off, and that's hurting him, but his car is good getting in. And this is a good test for Jeff Gordon. Right here, we're on our first pit stop. This is when these guys seem to be able to, haven't been able to get the car where it needs to be.
You know, as we watch Kyle Busch, the 5 car, our leader, the only Hendrick car that did not qualify in the top 5, he's getting those 5 bonus points for leading the lap. Remember, he's 10th in the points. Darrell, you pointed out in the pre-race, 80 bonus points for Biffle. Those bonus points can be so important to these guys.
Boy, Larry, and I tell you, that 24 car must be handling pretty good. He split the 9 and the car that was on the outside and went right around them.
And hey, the sun is out.
Where'd that come from?
Watch this, Larry. Watch him come off turn 2 over here. 40 car there, Strimmy on the outside, 9 on the inside, and Jeff says, make me room, boys. I'm coming through. I got a good car today.
Shows confidence he has in his race car.
One past champion moving up, another in the garage. Tony Stewart working on his car. Dick Berggren's there.
And you can pretty well be assured that his shoulder is okay, because Tony was wielding a very large, heavy hammer just moments ago. He is under the left front wheel of the car, working with various tools. The most difficult thing, though, is in the back. We have a frame machine. The back end of this car, the rear clip, is bent, and they're going to try to straighten that out as well. Major damage on Tony Stewart's number 20 car.
Yeah, they have got a lot of work to do. You cannot run the kind of speed you need to run here with that rear spoiler and deck lid in that configuration.
Stewart came in here 4th in the standings. Right now, he would drop at least 2 spots.
And let me tell you, it doesn't take many DNFs or finishes like he's going to have today to get you back there in jeopardy of not making that chase. Because you got so many good guys nibbling away at the top 10.
And we're halfway through the race to chase to see who gets to run for the Nextel Cup, and there are no mulligans. Every race counts. Ooh, did Gordon get against the wall there?
All of a sudden, that car, it's doing exactly what it does every week. All of a sudden, just like he flipped the switch, it's taken off pushing, and he almost knocked the wall down off 2. He almost knocked it down off of 4.
Looking back from Kasey Kahne at Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, now he was one of the cars that stayed out on that last caution. Remember, it was not that many laps ago. He restarted back in 42nd.
Oh, we got a car
damage on pit road.
Somebody hit.
Turned around over there.
Yep, somebody hit.
Oh, hard lick there.
Couple of them, Larry.
Hold on to it, bud. Hold on to it.
J.J. Yeley got hit by, I don't know who it was, but somebody just turned him.
Darrell, it looked like Yeley had to lift coming out of turn 2 because suddenly there was a car right on him and into his back bumper. Kenny Schrader and the Motorcraft Ford of the Wood brothers.
Let's see if we can see what happened back here. There's Yeley up on the outside, and he gets woed up right here behind the 4 car of Wimmer, I believe, and the 26 comes up the hill.
Boy, Robbie Gordon in the 7 just gets by, but Kenny Schrader in the 21 does not. Joe Nemechek in the 01.
What happened here? The 4 car kind of gets in JJ's way. He has to lift, and here comes the 26 car of McMurray with nowhere to go but into him, and around he goes, and these guys, they're just along for the ride.
Let's ride with Kenny Schrader. This won't be any fun.
This ought to hurt. Listen to this.
Hold on to it, bud. Hold on to it.
Triple header.
You know, Scott Wimmer in the 4 car that checked up, he was one of those cars that stayed out on the last caution, had a little older tires, and just looked like he didn't have the grip some of these cars that had fresher tires had.
Looks like Joe may have come through that without just minor damage. He looks like his car's not too bad a shape. Joe Nemechek in the Army car.
Now here come all the cars that stayed out on the last caution. They're hitting pit road, Steve Burns.
Yeah, Todd Berrier's decision, Larry Mack, was it's so early in the race. Let's go ahead and work on that race car now. And Kevin agreed. He said, we're kind of in a tough spot here. They're a little bit loose, so they're going to make a wedge adjustment and change 4 tires, Matt Yoakum.
Kyle Busch, who pitted up the first caution back on lap 11. Now, he had made up a number of spots, cycled up to the lead, but the car tight. Chassis adjustment and air pressure, 12.3 seconds for Busch. Mike?
So we have different agendas on pit stop strategy very early in this race, and the hood is up on Matt Kenseth. Not sure if this is related to him running into Bill Lester on pit road or not.
I think what they did is on the last pit stop on the last caution, they checked the toe out, which is basically the location of the front tires that helps the drivability of that car, especially into the corner. They determined how much it was off. Now under this caution, it looks like the guy leaning over in the hood, he's actually taking that tie rod and he's adjusting the toe out.
NASCAR Next Up Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Visa. Go on, live life, and remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa. Under caution, time for a Visa race break. Here's how things began after a rain delay.
Gentlemen, start your
The Grand Marshal Adam Sandler got him going, and the pole sitter Kasey Kahne, who has Click got his car passed by Jeff Gordon, who also started on the front row just to start things. Had another caution for a little bit of rain. Third caution, lap 23. Jeff Green of the 66 car clips Tony Stewart. Tony came in fourth in points, into the garage and angry about it. Shoulder must be okay, repairing the 20 car. Moments ago, another caution. The rookie, one of 6 rookies in this race, J.J. Yeley, 23rd spot, spun by Jamie McMurray. Also, Joe Nemechek and Ken Schrader involved. We've had 3 different lead changes, 3 leaders. Kasey Kahne ahead of Jeff Gordon as we stand right now, under caution, some 33 laps in. This has been a Visa race break, and no matter what it takes, life takes Visa. And Jeff, the driver's aggressive, whether the slick track or thinking that maybe getting to the halfway point with the rain in the area.
I think a lot of drivers right now realize this race could just make it this past halfway, and they're trying to get up toward the front in a hurry. We see a lot of guys with damage to the front noses. 17 car there. His was done on pit road with the 26 car. We saw him making repairs, and that right there was the fact that he got hit in the got in the back of the 18 car.
Extra visit to pit road by Kyle Busch, who's led 9 laps. But Mike, 21 laps, and Jeff Gordon has led the most laps so far in this race.
A couple of extended pit stops. Joe Nemechek was back in as well, as you saw Jeff Green and Matt Kenseth. Now Jeff Gordon, I guess not too happy with his Hendrick Motorsports teammate right behind him, the Lowe's Chevy of Jimmy Johnson. They were doing a lot of side-by-side racing after that last restart, maybe more than you would expect from teammates.
Jimmy, if you want to race like this all day long, I'll take it all day long, buddy. I thought we were teammates. Let's race to get to the front. Now let's get 3 wider in case we can.
Matt? Get back there in a minute. There's Chad Knaus, Jimmy's crew chief. I saw on that last restart, Darrell, they were 3 wide all down the front straightaway, not 1 lap, but at least 2 in a row.
But you know what? I agree, but I don't understand. You know, everybody's out there racing, and Jimmy Johnson's car is faster than Jeff Gordon's. So Jeff, if you don't want to race side by side, 3 wide, why don't you slow down?
They're teammates, but don't you have to race them just like every other car?
Sure, and what happened here, he ought to be mad at the 96 Tony Raines, because Tony held him up and allowed Jimmy to get underneath of him and make the pass. He and Kasey Kahne both. So Jeff's the one that I understand. Jeff's frustrated a little bit maybe, but if you don't want to race like that, dude, get behind me.
I have a real problem with drivers that get upset because someone's racing you.
That's the whole point. You're here to race.
If you're up there running 1 and 2 and you're driving away from the field, different story. They're in the middle of the pack racing other cars.
Yeah, they're not out there by themselves. This ain't no picnic. We're not on a Sunday drive. We're racing.
Maybe the point trying to be made is if we were single file, we'd be faster than if we're trying to beat each other's fenders in.
If it was only the 2 of them, I could see his point.
Kasey Kahne leading Jeff Gordon as we go back to green and complete 35 laps.
Now the top 15 cars, all the way from Kasey Kahne back to Kevin LePage in the 49, they stayed out on this caution.
I tell you who's worried right now. It ought to be J.D. Gibbs. He's only got 1 bullet left.
And that's Denny Hamlin in the 11th
back there in 8th place, just out of our frame. Here's Jeff going for the lead. And he does have a fast car. And I'm thinking he's probably more excited than he is upset. Man, I want to run good today, and I am.
If my driver's going to be frustrated about something, that's what I want it to be.
Oh, right. And you know what? The other thing is, giving Jeff Gordon all the credit in the world, he's excited and he wants to run good.
Tell you what, there on the left, you see another Chevrolet coming into the picture. Jeff Burton in that 31 car up there battling Kasey Kahne and Jimmy Johnson. That's a battle for the 4th position.
Hey, Larry, guess where the last time it was they run that 31 car? Bristol, Tennessee.
It has a new body.
It has a new body on it, but it's the Bristol car.
Junior gets past on the inside, gets past Burton, that is. Vickers right there with them. You know, we talked at the top of the show about long green runs. That's the one thing we've not had yet today.
And you know, I know it's early, 36 laps into this race. We've been talking all weekend, the stranglehold that Dodge and Ford has had on this racetrack. Right now, 6 of the top 7 are all the bow ties, the Chevrolets. Casey Kane, the only Dodge in the top 7 right now.
The last Chevrolet to win here is that one right there.
Man lead, 2001.
I tell you, that 9 car, now he's got some smoke under the hood. That thing goes down the straightaway about as good as anything I've ever seen.
You mentioned Joe Gibbs with 2 cars in the garage. Let's find out about J.J. Yaley's. Here's Steve.
Mike, J.J. Yaley's still in his race car, but there is heavy damage to the front end. They've got the portable power tools out, the Sawzall. They're trying to ripping the nose off as we speak, and there's substantial damage to the radiator. They're going to have to replace that. And J.D. Gibbs standing by looking on as the team brings in a backup radiator.
Thanks, Steve. Their remaining car on track is Denny Hamlin, last week's winner, in 7th.
This interstate's got a lot of lanes on it, doesn't it? These cats.
Oh, yes.
Look at them. They're high, they're low, they're in the middle. That's why the drivers love this racetrack. You got options. You're not stuck behind somebody.
I know we're seeing a little single file racing right here, but just a little ways behind this group. This is not single file. Remember, this is a lot of the cars that pitted on the last caution, like Kyle Busch in the 5 car, Elliott Sadler in the 38. This is pretty much a battle basically from about 21st on back.
Look at this thing go there. Look at him.
Turn 2, you mentioned it earlier. That's where he's got him.
He comes off of turn 2 like he hits an afterburner.
But then Jeff Gordon seems to be able to really drive it into turn 3, and the thing sticks because he runs it up the racetrack. Then he wins the battle off turn 4.
Behind them, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been up there in the Richard Petty groove, running just inches from the wall all the way around the corner.
And of course, it's a momentum. We talk about momentum. Casey has the momentum off of turn 2. Jeff has the momentum off of turn 4. And 2 totally different turns. 2 is tight. Right there where the 9 is right now, that's a tight corner. Come off of turn 4, it's a sweeper. You can let the car run out. Turn 2 would be more complementary to a fairly loose car. Turn 4 would be a little more complementary to a tight car.
Jeff Gordon, your leader at 41 laps from Casey Kane, Jimmy Johnson, and Dale Jr.
You can't fear anyone or any track.
Side by side for the lead at the start-finish line, Casey Kane and Jeff Gordon lined up just like they started on the front row, and Gordon owns the corner for now.
Gordon can just drive down in there so hard. Casey's looking around for another line to run. He's been able to close, but he can't make the pass. 9's got a problem, Matt. What is it?
You see him moving around, DW. He's searching a little more for fresher air because the water temperature has climbed well over 250 degrees. You can see him working on the wheel. His team prepared for Casey at the hit pit road.
He's
and pulled
coming.
some tape off the grill. But he is coming down pit road. He's peeled off.
The problem is he has debris on the grill. You can see it right there. He has a piece of plastic. This place is notorious for that with the wind blowing around.
And it takes so very, they run the openings in minimum amount.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves past Jimmy Johnson to take over second behind Jeff Gordon. Here comes the pole sitter to his pit, Matt.
And they're also going to make a chassis adjustment now since they are on pit road, losing this track position. You can see the crew member make the adjustment. Clouds coming back over. You can feel the temperature dropping again as teams racing to the halfway point, and everything else is bonus. but the water temperature had climbed over 250 degrees for the pole sitter. 16.8 seconds for the Dodge boys.
And the problem with Kasey Kahne having to make this unscheduled stop, we've got cars out there that can go about 30 more laps on fuel. So obviously what Kasey Kahne, the 9 group Kenny Francis needs, they need this thing to go green for a while, and hopefully they can recover from this.
Next week, something completely different. We're at Infineon Raceway, Sonoma, California, on the road race course. But for now, the 2-mile super speedway at Michigan. Jeff Gordon, who started outside pole, having it his own way, a 2.5 seconds up on Dale Jr. Here's the race for 7th place. Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin.
Cousin Carl, he's been working his way to the front ever since the drop of the green flag. 3 starts here, all top 10 finishes. In fact, he's made his very first career start here in August of 2004. Always runs well here, just didn't get that good qualifying lap in. His car was real loose.
Yeah, he failed to launch last night, Larry. They dropped the green flag and something happened to the gearbox and he didn't go anywhere. So he had a rough night last night. He's working much better today.
Now I want to add to what I said about Kasey Kahne in the 9 car needing this thing to go a long green run. There's a fine line there. Right now he's the only car a lap down. If he gets the caution, he gets the free pass. But if we have a long green run and our leaders start lapping other cars, he could indeed not be the first car lap down if we get a caution. So maybe they would be better to go ahead and get a caution now.
Well, the leader is coming off turn 2 now, and the next car is anywhere near getting lapped is coming off turn 4. Almost a half lap. So he's going to be in the catbird seat for a while.
Right now we still have 37 cars on the lead lap. The only car that's officially retired, Derek Cope in the 74 car. J.J. Ellie, Kenny Schrader, Tony Stewart's car is in the garage trying to get repaired and back out on the racetrack.
Plus the other thing, Larry, that 9 car now has 4 fresh tires. He may, more likely, will chase down Jeff Gordon and get by him under green.
His lap times, Darrell, about 0.7 of a second quicker than Jeff Gordon on worn tires right now. Clint Boyer spent some time in the garage, but he's back on track in his 0.7, though 26 laps down.
NASCAR Next Up Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by GM. Same company, new tune. By Subway Restaurants. Subway, drive hard, eat fresh. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Sears. Pit road is open. Jeff Gordon, your leader, 54 laps in under our 5th caution. Jeff Hammond getting ready for pit stops. What can we expect?
Chris, I mean, a lot of these guys right now have about 20 laps in their tires, so I look for them to come down and get 4 tires. I think we're still looking at the big race, trying to get to the halfway point. So we look for maybe a little bit of strategy by some cars, maybe even to take the chance and put on 2 tires.
And the caution is out because of rain. Let's check in with Dick Berggren on the pit stops.
Jeff Burton was running in the 5th position. A whole variety of things that they're going to try to fix here. The car is a bit free going into the corners. Then sometimes it pushes off. They're going to adjust the chassis and air pressure. Steve.
Dick Dale Earnhardt Jr. likes that number 8 car right now. He's in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. He said it's good in and off, just a little bit snug in the center, Matt.
Gordon and his teammate Jimmy Johnson 1st and 3rd. Now Gordon needed help both on entry and exit. Track bar to help the entrance, which was too tight. Air pressure to help the exit, which was too loose. Also an air pressure adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. He was loose all the way through the corner. Chris Myers.
All right, time for a quick Visa race break. You know, we had a 45-minute delay before they got things rolling here in Michigan. Adam Sandler, the Grand Marshal and the official starter. On the pole, Kasey Kahne, who led 6 laps. He was passed early by Jeff Gordon, who has led the most laps in this race. But let's look at Matt Kenseth, who came into this race closing 2nd in points. Multiple pit stops. He had a brush with Bill Lester, who had damage to his car. Kenseth fell 20 spots, but is trying to work his way back up. 2-time NASCAR champ Tony Stewart, clipped here by Jeff Green of the 66 car, putting him behind the wall. And Tony steamed. That broken shoulder blade okay compared to Stewart's car, trying to get back in the race. Moments ago, Kasey Kahne was running 2nd, lap 47. Problems on the grill, had to pit, but just got the lucky pass, Jeff Hammond, and this has been a Visa Race Break. No matter what it takes, life takes Visa. Jeff Gordon, currently your leader, will be back at Michigan International Speedway. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Getting ready for green after pit stops, Jeff Gordon out front. Now during the caution, both Elliott Sadler and Kyle Petty stayed out trying to lead a lap. On the last green lap, Sadler was ahead of Petty, but when the caution came out, NASCAR has judged that Petty will lead that lap under caution, not Sadler, because when the caution came out, Sadler did not maintain speed, wasn't entitled to retain the spot. Net result, Kyle gets 5 bonus points, Elliott does not.
And why 5 bonus points is important to both those guys, 2 completely different agendas. The 45's trying to stay in the top 35, the 38's trying to get towards the top 10. 2 different agendas for leading that lap.
Turn 2, Dale Jr. hunting the lead on Jeff Gordon.
Junebug's on it, baby. He said he liked that old car yesterday. Don't do anything to it. But now watch Gordon. He gets in the corner so well. Golly, that car will get down into the corner.
Especially turn 3 and 4.
But June's got a little horsepower today. He's going to drive right under him.
And you don't think these fans are on their feet? Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the 2 drivers missed the chase last year side by side. There's no one sitting down here.
2 of the most popular athletes in the country. In
That's
all
right.
sports.
Junior was just on some major list of the top 5 athletes in the United States.
Harris Cole, and so was Jeff Gordon.
Junior gives Gordon a wave, and it may be a wave by Bond. Steve?
And Mike, if we get 1 lap past halfway, this race is official. Listen to what Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief, Tony Eury Jr., told Dale Jr. under caution.
Just so you know, Dale Jr., the big storm is probably an hour and a half out. We run an hour and a half, so you look at 55 laps right here because the main half first part of the race. So you got to hit them on what that is. When that weather gets here, it'll probably be down for quite a while. What's the laps on this race? 200, so we got to get to lap 100 to make it a race. But just kind of giving you a heads up for what's around the corner, what might happen. I'll let you know later on. The weather changes drastically or anything. Alrighty.
And what's ironic is halfway is lap 100. That pit stop these guys just made was lap 55. They can go right to lap 100 should we not get a caution, but they have to pit on the green.
After restarts here, this track is so wide, things get really exciting for a few laps. Watch this, turn 2.
I tell you, that 9 car, Larry, he is on a mission to get back to the front. That's him up on the high side. Watch this. He doesn't, I mean, he's in no man's land. If somebody pushes up a little bit, he's in trouble. 4 wide, and he gasses right by them, and they all say, where'd he come from?
Meanwhile, back up front, Jeff Gordon wants the lead once again.
And I get the feeling, as good as his car is, if he wants it, he'll probably take it eventually.
Well, that could have been, you know, looking at that pass and the other one, that's almost like a trade-off. I'll lead a lap. Let me lead a lap, and I'll let you back in front of me.
7th, 8th, and 9th here. Hamlin upside of Kevin Harvick in the 29.
But then on the other hand, maybe not.
You know what? These guys are having fun. They have not had a chance to do this a lot in the last year and a half.
That's right. Jeff just sailing off in there on the high side.
Well, the corner has 3 parts, and that 24 car's got 2 of them down pretty pat right now.
But I'm going to tell you what, while these guys are going at it, remember what Jeff Gordon was so mad at his teammate about a little while ago. While this is going on, his teammate Jimmie Johnson, as well as Carl Edwards in the 99, are getting closer and closer. There they are right there.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst thing you can do is run side by side for a prolonged period of time, because it definitely slows you down by about a second. Guys behind you get a little draft, and they come right up to you.
Jeff Gordon got the message, and he drops in front of Dale Jr. They're going to try to create a little distance. A further note on the Elliott Sadler situation. He had faked toward pit road under caution and gone to pit road and then swerved back out. And for that reason, NASCAR judged that he did not maintain pace car speed and position. And that's why Kyle Petty was the leader of that lap under caution and not Elliott Sadler.
And I think more so than a fake, Mike, it was all of a sudden realizing, hey, if we stay out, we might can lead 5 points. Lead a lap and get 5 points.
Third place changes hands as Carl Edwards marches to the front in that Roush Ford.
Yeah, I'd say that Chevy Brigade has got a Ford in the future.
Little spoiler.
Dale Jr. has dropped into second, and he's losing a bit of ground to Jeff Gordon, Steve.
He is, Mike. He just told crew chief Tony Eury Jr., I'm rolling over on the right front, and I don't like it.
Now, what he means is, and that just got that feeling that you know you're using up that right front tire, and you don't want to do that at 200 miles an hour.
Carl Edwards, the 99 car, gets a run off turn 2. He's going to complete the pass at the end of the backstretch. And now Jimmie Johnson in the 48 car will pull right up on the rear bumper of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 that we're riding with.
And that's how quickly it happens, Mike, Larry. In one turn, your car all of a sudden gets a feel in it that you do not like, and you know what it is. And there's only one cure, and that's to slow down a little bit until we can do something about it.
So Junior fades from the lead to 4th place. Next car behind him is Biffle and then Jeff Burton.
Oh, got a car around off of turn 2, guys. Turn 2.
Is that Kenseth? It is.
Just got sucked around over there. Don't think anybody got into it.
Caution is out.
4 tires, bro.
Hey, just routine. Spun out 4 tires.
4 tires, guys. I see it. 4 tires.
On the inside of is that Scott Riggs, who will wiggle there going around the outside. Here's Matt in the middle.
I think he just gets in there where it just sucks the back of the car around. Tony Raines in the 96.
Why, Darrell? What does that?
It's side draft. The air off the car that you're trying to pass is coming over and getting a hold of your car and trying to pull it into that outside car, and it just takes the air off your spoiler and pulls you around as it does it.
And I know, as apprehensive as we are about the car tomorrow, Darrell, had a long talk with Brett Bodine this morning, who drives the pace car, who did a lot of the development work of the car tomorrow. He said that's one thing that car really has a lot of, is the side force that you don't lose because of that wing when you get beside a car like that.
Today.
There will be a free pass. It is Clint Boyer. He will go from being 30 laps down to only 29 as the free pass is awarded to the first lapped car in the running order. That is Boyer.
But you got to admit that if you're 30 laps down, at least something good happens.
Yeah, 29 looks good.
I'm only 29 down now.
You're seeing Steve Letarte right there. I think what Steve is doing, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, he was almost looking down at Jimmie Johnson's crew chief, Chad Canal, saying, what are you going to do? I think since it's been 12 laps since these guys were on pit road, you're going to see them coming as they are, but I think you'll see a lot of 2-tire stops here. Dick Berger, maybe even some fuel only.
Well, they were talking about a 2-tire stop for Jeff Burton, who 4 laps ago keyed the radio and simply told his crew 3 octaves up to Steve.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s get just right side tires. They want half a pound on the right rear.
Hand signals back and forth between the 24 and 48 pitch. Letarte told Canals they were going to go with 4 tires. Chassis adjustment already for Gordon. They continue working on the balance of his car. Jimmie Johnson, his car was way too tight on exit. 48, close battle off pit road with his teammate Mike Joy.
And I believe, Matt, 2 of the Ganassi cars may have gambled on 2 tires. Casey Mears and Reed Sorensen out there with that lead pack.
And you can see it right there. Reed Sorensen, the 41 car, Casey Mears in the 42. How quick their time is, that shows they did a little less than the other teams.
A lot of different strategies in play. Getting ready to restart. Green flag to complete 70 laps. We are 30 from halfway, which would be an official race if the rain comes. And 130 to go to the finish line. Greg Biffle out in front. Three-wide racing as Jimmie Johnson tries to come through. Bobby Labonte's been strong today. And Kasey Kahne, the pole sitter, on the comeback. Kevin Harvick at 12th place.
One car we need to make a note of had been in the top 10 most of this race. Kyle Busch in the 5 on that last pit stop. Too fast exiting, speeding, tailing the longest line. Restarted in 37th. He has now worked his way up 5 positions to 32nd.
New face up front, the Biff. Greg Biffle in that Jack Roush Ford, winner of what, 2 of the last 3 races here. And look where he has moved in the points since the drop of the green flag, as Denny Hamlin backs up a spot and Kyle Busch falls back 2 positions based on his position at the moment. Now multiple pit stops for Matt Kenseth, who now sits a lap down. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, it's been a rough day for the former Nextel Cup champion. He was trying to avoid Tony Raines and felt like Raines wasn't giving him enough room. He actually, the 17 of Matt Kenseth, ran into the 12 of Ryan Newman, making contact. That's what caused him to spin out. Matt?
Polling a number of different crew chiefs this morning, Steve, they all pointed to the 16 of Greg Biffle as the car that would be the rabbit today, the guy they expected to jump out front, and they were all going to have to chase, judging by the lap tracker system that all the teams use to gauge where their car is over a number of laps during final practice. Now they have had a lot of long runs, and that's where Biffle's car was so stout in final practice. They've been tweaking it with air pressure, hoping for what we are starting to have now. Looks like a long run.
Thanks, Matt.
You see his crew chief, Doug Richard, there. When he won here in August of 2004, that's about the time that Doug Richard came on board. That's when this group, I think, made their statement. You know what? We're going to go up there, and we're going to be championship contenders.
Yeah, he's had 2 wins in the last 3 races here. It'd be pretty hard to bet against him. He obviously knows something about this place.
Right now, Biffle holds a lead of 0.6 of a second over Dale Jr., and that lead is growing.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Ford. Bold moves. By McDonald's. By the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. And by Sprint. Get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel from Sprint.
.76 complete this time by, and now Junior has moved up a groove. He is tracking Biffle and closing back at the lead, while this goes on back at 7th place. The 3 Hendrick cars that started 2, 3, 4 on the day, racing 7, 8, and 9.
Well, you remember that little lecture that the 48 car got earlier? Jimmie Johnson has been riding behind Jeff Gordon lap after lap after lap, trying to make up his mind. Well, should I try to pass him, or I don't want to make him mad again? Time has come. He's got to go now.
There's the boss, Rick Hendrick, looking on at 3 of his 4 cars. The other one, Kyle Busch, has to come up from the back. Steve?
And Mike, talking about the 25 of Brian Vickers, he's been fighting the handling early in this race, but on the last pit stop, they made an air pressure adjustment, they made a track bar adjustment. He said his car was loose, but since the restart, he said, great job, this car is the best in all day.
Junior is there. He went from 7 car laps down, car lengths down 2 laps ago to right back up on Greg Biffle. Biffle turned the heat on, but didn't have a good entry into 3. Junior's got to run. and Dale Jr. has the lead.
Both of these cars on that last caution, they were cars that elected to go with 2 right side tires, not that many laps on the tires to begin with, and get their cars out there in that clean air, and it's working right now.
And that is what the manufacturers came to see, a Chevy-Ford battle. And if you're a Chevy team with a lot of support, leading at Michigan is a big deal. If you're a Ford team, any other teams, but leading here in front of all the execs.
They were a dead tie across the start-finish line that time. Greg Biffle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., difference, delta in their lap right then, 0.000. Dead heat.
Trouble for Tony Raines in the DLP HDTV car.
He's got a flat left rear tire, and you can see it's ripped the quarter panel off.
And that brings out a caution. It's the 7th one today. There's White.
And I think that was definitely a caution that Matt Kenseth in the 17 was looking for. The only car a lap down, he'll now get the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap. That will put 38 cars on the lead lap, just 20 laps shy of halfway.
It's incredible how Kenseth's days can go. Some days it's just out there and you don't know he's there, and he ends up in the top 3 or 4. Today he's been in a lot of trouble.
Here's a team that's coming off its best finish of the season, 16th. Tough break.
When he gets in here, just do left. The right sides are up, right?
And the reason Felipe Lopez, the crew chief, is saying that right now, Tony Raines is still on the lead lap. So if they can get on the pit road, just get the left side tires changed where he can get back out there and get caught up, then they can come back and change right. But most importantly, fix that damage, especially you see on the left front.
Sir, just get the left side.
And he should easily be able to do this because the field's just now in turn 3.
Hope they got a flat tire jack handy.
Get up, guys.
That's the way it's supposed to work right there.
Roger.
Pace car between turns 3 and 4. They'll have plenty of time.
Okay, go.
And Raines will stay on the lead lap and then come back in to get his right side tires. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader, second time he's led today for a total of 4 laps. And like the Pied Piper, he's going to bring everyone but Brian Vickers onto pit road. Dick?
Well, the 31 car, Jeff Burton, has a piece of trash on the grill. That was a concern of theirs. They're going to put 4 tires on it this time. Last time they pitted, they just took 2 tires. So a bit of a different strategy. Steve.
Dick Dale Earnhardt Jr. in. Last time they just took right side tires. This time, 4 tires for the Budweiser Chevy. Jr. said the car had gotten a little bit tight with just 2 tires.
Matt, 19 laps on the left side tires for Biffle. You can see them making the chassis adjustment. He says he's almost wrecking down in turns 1 and 2. The 41 of Sorts is away. Air pressure adjusted for the 99 of Edwards. His car had been tight, and the 48 beats everybody off pit road. Mike?
One of Dale Jarrett's crewmen with a slight limp after getting brushed back by Reed Sorensen, the target car leaving the pit right behind Jarrett. Brian Vickers stays on track and does not pit, nor does Mike Skinner. Everyone else on the lead lap has been to pit road.
Probably one of the most memorable experiences is going fishing with my dad and my brother and camping. You know, I remember it like it was yesterday. Probably one of the things that I remember forever.
Happy Father's Day, everyone. There is Greg Biffle, 3rd place right now to the 2 Hendrick cars, Brian Vickers and Jimmy Johnson. Vickers did not pit. Steve?
Mike just checked in the pits. This is a bit of a gamble. They think there's another big rain system coming through, so they decided to stay out and try to get to halfway.
Yeah, he has 9 laps on his tires, and he's got a bunch of good race cars behind him. The one thing he will have going for him, at least when we get the restart, is clean air. We've seen what clean air can do, but that's a tall order with some good race cars likes behind him.
Boy, that car sure looks a lot better than it did last time we saw it on the racetrack.
Tony Stewart is back on track. He is 61 laps down.
I don't believe it's going to take long for these guys to kind of just smoke on by the number 25 car.
If anything, the sky to the south is looking lighter, not darker. So we'll see how this plays out. We're 16 laps to halfway, 116 to the finish, as Jeff Gordon gets alongside of Kasey Kahne, and Johnson wants the lead from his teammate.
See, the 25 is playing the weather card, but he's playing it with old tires. These guys are playing the weather card with new tires. They're going to get out there. They want to go too because they know the rain may be nearby.
If Brian had had a few friends that stayed out with him, could have been a different story. But all these guys behind him, like Johnson, Biffle, and now Carl Edwards in the 99, they have a lot fresher tires than Brian Vickers.
I think one of the things that's encouraging in creating some of these stay-out situations, though, is this a much harder tire than we've had here in the past. It's a little more durable. It'll do better on a long run, and it'll last a little bit longer.
There you see Reed Sorensen in the 41 car, one of our rookies up there in the 7th position. But look at Kasey Kahne in the 9. Less than 40 laps ago, he was on pit road under green, a lap down. Here he is back in the top 10. Speaking of the Ganassi cars, right behind Jeff Gordon, you see Casey Mears in that 42 car up there in the top 10.
Casey Mears will move on. Next season, he'll drive the Hendrick number 25. The car that right now leads this race from Carl Edwards.
You've got to love this racetrack to only have 18 degrees of banking right from the drop of the green flag. Look at the different grooves these guys are running off the corner and down the straightaway.
Biffle had to get out of the gas a little bit. He started to push. When he did, Junior went by on the outside and Jeff Burton went by on the inside.
Well, that was a big 3-wide. That was a sandwich worthy of Subway right there. Burton still on the bottom and still coming. Sorensen and Gordon right behind him. And Kasey Kahne right behind them.
That's what I talk about this track being a little aggravating. You got a fast car, but you get amongst these other cars, it's hard to pass, it's hard to get away from them. Sometimes you get held up forever.
Let's get a little update on some of this mid-race strategy, as during the caution we listened in to Jimmie Johnson's team.
The rain is 15 miles away. You hold off till the rain comes, we win. 10-4.
To hold them off, he's going to have to get past Vickers and Carl Edwards, who wants the lead out of 4.
Carl Edwards in the 99, he's been so much better through the middle of the corner than Brian Vickers in the 25, so he's going to take the lead here, just 12 laps shy of halfway. But we talked about it at the top of the show. Key to winning this race, chasing the weather. That's what a lot of these guys are doing right now.
Two big factors as we watch Sorensen try to deal with the 29 of Harvick, the 9 of Kahne, and the 42 of his teammate Casey Mears. One is the rain, and the other is daylight. Central Michigan is on the western end of the Eastern time zone. It is light here till about 9:45 at night. So even if the sky opens up, they won't be very quick to pull the plug.
Boy, the sky opened up right there for the 9 car. He got to run on the outside, and man, he squeezed between the wall and Casey. Reed Sorensen there and shot by them both. That 9 car, Larry, is coming back to the front with a vengeance.
And what a weekend they've had. Sat on the pole on Friday, hit the wall in practice yesterday, major repairs to this car. This is the same car he has won those other 3 races with this year. Overheating there about 40-45 laps ago. Now he's back into the top 10, trying to march back to the front. Kasey Kahne in the 9.
You know, thus far, his day isn't all that different from that of Denny Hamlin 1 week ago at Pocono. Hamlin led 49 of the first 50 laps, cut a tire, spun to the infield, and had a lot of ground to make up. Did, and won the race. Kahne's our leading Dodge Charger in the race. Mears and Sorensen close behind.
And what he's been working on, what they've been trying to help him with, he's trying to get him to where he's a little better in 3 and 4. He seems to be excellent exiting turn 2. He loses a little ground to most of these guys down here, but they look like they've really helped him because he's looking to the outside of Jeff Burton. Is he going to be able to squeeze in there? Makes it.
Still out there.
And that was literally the outside. There was no more asphalt up there. It was wall.
He's made a couple of passes like that, kind of raised the hair up on your neck. How about it, Dick? What they say about Burton?
No rear grip. No rear grip on car 31.
And obviously what that means is when he puts the throttle down, goes through the corner, the rear is wanting to slide around and be loose with him. And cousin Carl in this 99 car, Carl Edwards, he has checked out to a 1 1/4 second lead over Brian Vickers in the 25 car.
Carl's making up for last night, Larry. He had a bad night last night. First car out of the race. You want to do some racing.
Remember half a dozen or so.
Down there to get in, but pretty good by myself.
Remember half a dozen or so years ago when Jeff Burton was Rain Man? And every time it was like Mother Nature was his biggest fan. Every time it would rain, Burton would win.
Watching these two teammates, Brian Vickers in the 25, Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Right now these guys are battling for the 3rd position, but I've been keeping an eye on their other teammate, Kyle Busch in the 5 car. Remember, when we restarted back on lap 70, he had to restart at the tail end of the longest line because of speeding. He has now made his way all the way back up to the 17th position. He just went by Mark Martin in the 6, so he's on his way back to the front. Just drives by Ryan Newman in the 12 as well.
And watching Kyle, he spent most of his day just like that, running right down against the yellow line at the bottom of the racetrack. Hasn't much ventured up and tried the upper grooves. 3rd place. Biffle makes the pass. Carl Edwards out in front as we're 6 laps from halfway in Michigan. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up. By Mobile Clean 5000, the official lubricants of NASCAR. It's seriously tough oil. By DLP Picture Technology from Texas Instruments. And by Coca-Cola. Thanks for drinking. Over Greg Biffle, we're nearing the halfway point. Lap 100, going 400 miles here in Michigan. NASCAR on Fox, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there watching. And for Jeff Gordon, who is coming off the hardest wreck of his career, he passed the pole sitter Kasey Kahne. Gordon's led the most laps today at 50. Kasey Kahne running second. Jeff had some problems, debris on the grill.
Yeah, he had to stop early because the car was overheating, but because of all that debris you see right underneath the nose of that Charger.
He was a lap down, but now has worked his way back up to 5th. And how about this? Lap 60, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, taking the lead from Jeff Gordon, 2 of the most recognized names in sports. They traded first place for a while. Matt Kenseth, lap 67, spins out from 40th to 18th. Remember, he came in second in points, has had an up and down day. Quite a few problems. But right now, the Roush Fords, Jeff, are leading the way. And Kasey Kahne, as we said, up to 5th, working his way back towards the front, passing Jimmy Johnson.
Looks like right now he's going to go to 4th, Chris, and he goes on the high side one more time. He likes the rim ride around this racetrack, and his car's working really well up high.
Worth mentioning that Tony Stewart, way back on lap 22, clipped by Jeff Green, still out of the race. He came in 4th in points. And we've had 7 cautions. The record for this racetrack is 9. Some of that probably caused by the rain delay, the slick track, as we get a look at the aggressive driving and the way the points look to the moment.
Well, to the moment, we still see Jimmy Johnson out front. Matt Kenseth still lost a little bit of ground to him, but he's still hanging there in 2nd place. But you'll notice Kasey Kahne is up to 3rd, and Tony Stewart is falling completely out of the top 5.
He has just come back on the track, I should say, repairing his car, and we are officially halfway in this race. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
That produces a sigh of relief all up and down pit road that we'll get this race in today. It's a long haul to California, out north of San Francisco to Sonoma next week. Greg Biffle, the fastest car on the racetrack. He is about 2/10 quicker than Carl Edwards. Matt?
Back on lap 95, Mike, Greg Biffle keyed his mic and told his spotter Joel Edmonds, he says, school is about to be in session. He's knocked off about 1 second the distance between himself and his teammate Carl Edwards. Now Edwards spotter Bobby Hudson is telling Carl exactly where Biffle is running and catching him on the racetrack. So Carl can try to adjust his line to Biffle.
That last lap, Biffle was about 1/10 of a second quicker. The previous lap, 2/10 faster.
I know we're watching Greg Biffle here in the 16 car running second, but this right here, I've been watching this battle. This is a battle for 10th. Jeff Burton in the 31, Kurt Busch in the 2. Remember, Kurt Busch back on lap 25, as the field took the green for a restart, had a flat tire. He was all the way back in 40th position. Darrell, you and I have been watching this car. He just keeps getting better and better, and he's pretty good on long runs.
Yeah, he is. That's a whale of an improvement. They put that old magic spring rubber in the left rear, sound like, and that tightened him up. And the way to the races he went. And there's my buddy there in the old. He's feeling his Cheerios today. Go, Bobby. Bobby Labonte in the 43 car, the Petty car.
Yeah, he's been a top dozen car all day long.
Been quietly hanging around there in the top 12.
He's been good all weekend long, though. Good in practice. Remember, he started this race up in the 5th position. Here he is battling Kurt Busch in the 2 for the 11th position.
There's a little racing going on here.
8th place. Harvick inside of the car that did not stop on the last caution, Brian Vickers.
Well, and the problem, Darrell, with Brian Vickers in the 25, he's only about 8 or 9 laps away from having to make a green flag stop because he did stay out.
Yeah, those older tires are going to prevail for a little while against the new ones, but once they go away, you're in big trouble.
The way I see it, Vickers should have to pit somewhere around lap 113 to 115. Everyone else that pitted on lap 81, they should be able to go somewhere between 126, 128, 129, right in there.
Kurt Busch continues moving toward the front. He just took 10th away from Jeff
Crossover
Burton.
move right there. Kurt slid up in front of Jeff, and Jeff cut back under him.
And let's go to Jeff Burton's pit, Dick.
Well, Jeff Burton's car was really good at the very beginning of this race, Mike. Not so good right now. He's told the crew that the car is very inconsistent. The biggest description he has had, the most clear description is it's free in, then it goes tight, then the back end won't bite, tries to slide around coming off the corner. So lots of problems with Jeff Burton's car. They're going to need to make a bunch of adjustments on the next pit stop to fix it. Steve.
Well, Dick, following the 2 car of Kurt Busch, you see the 43 battle between the 41 and the 31. Kurt Busch's concern right now is that he's running a little bit hot. He's asked the crew to clean the grill the next time they stop, just a little bit hot on the 2 car.
And remember, that's what happened to Casey Kane in the 9 car. You heard Chris Myers just talking about it a while ago. Got paper on that grill. The wind's picking up. We're getting a report of that, and it really starts blowing a lot of debris around this racetrack, and the place it ends up is on the noses of these cars.
The funny thing, Larry, is that wasn't stuck to Kane's grill, because as the car rolled to a halt, all those wrappers fell off. Of course, they won't fall off at 190 miles an hour.
No, not unless he can get that nose right up against the car in front of him, and then it'll take the air off the nose and it'll fall off.
Carl Edwards in the 99 car, he's up here still leading this thing, and Matt, he has almost a 2.5 lead over his teammate Greg Biffle in the 16.
See the raindrops, Carl.
Uh-oh. Still green. Matt?
And you heard his spotter and weatherman Bobby Hudson telling him, keeping him abreast of the weather, and we are starting to feel some raindrops. His car has settled in. He's trying to run the exact same line down in 1 and 2 as Biffle, because they felt like that's where he was losing most of his time to the 16 of Biffle. They were even down in 3 and 4.
And I'm sure as we're feeling those raindrops, the guy that's just beating his leg right now, Lance McGrew, crew chief for Brian Vickers, back there in the 9th position. Remember, he stayed out because of anticipating rain, but as we just mentioned, probably 5 to 7 laps till he'll have to make a green flag stop.
You just can't take a chance. NASCAR can't. Once enough drivers start to complain, we got to have a yellow, because with all the oil and as slick as a track can be with a little water on it, you're in big trouble.
What usually happens is the lead driver radios, it's raining, it's raining. The second place driver goes, no, it's fine, at least until I catch him.
Well, you take a poll, and you know, they're pretty smart over there. They know the ones that they can believe and the ones they don't need to listen to.
A piece of rubber debris blew up, car ran over it, and got it out of harm's way. Looked like just a piece of tape or tire.
But I think about everybody in the field just about hit this piece of debris.
Well, it's just a wad of rubber is what it is. They run over that stuff sometime and gets a big wad of it built up in the fender well of the car, and it'll fall out.
Caution is out now.
And
3 in turn 4 and in turn 1. And Kyle Petty left rear tire down. That's part of that debris.
Come down pit road if you have to. We'll do left sides only if you do.
And the sigh of relief is from Lance McGrew and Brian Vickers, about 5 laps away from having to make a green flag pit stop.
Trouble for Kyle Petty puts us under caution for the 8th time today.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
Here's a look at pit stops just concluded under this caution flag, the 8th one of the day. Kyle Petty still has not been. He remains out on track. Edwards, Earnhardt Jr., Biffle, and Kane.
So most of the leaders go with just 4 tires here, and I think the reason, if we shouldn't fight weather, this pit stop here will put them within 1 stop of making it to the end. I think that's the reason almost everyone, except for Reed Sorenson in the 41 car, you can see gained 11 position, won the battle off pit road, went with 2 tires on that car.
Let's update those pit stops, beginning with Matt.
Greg Biffle has won 2 of the last 3 races here at MIS, made an air pressure adjustment, fighting a grip issue, needing more grip, just like his teammate Carl Edwards, who's never finished out of the top 10 here, looking for another good run to Steve Burns.
Thank you, Matt. Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying he just wanted to rotate better, turn better through the center of the corner. So they made an air pressure adjustment. They put half a pound in the right front and took a round of bite out of the right rear. Dick?
Well, I'm working up near turn 4, and I got to tell you, it's nice here. We haven't felt any rain at all for a very long time. Car 31, Burton, came in. They made a wedge adjustment to that car, fired 4 at it, put fuel in it, made some air pressure adjustments in the 4 tires. Let's go up to Mike.
Thanks to Kevin LePage, stayed out on track to lead a lap. He becomes the 9th different leader on the day. So we'll go down to Jeff Hammond for a State Farm safety report.
We're always talking about how we protect the drivers. You know, fire suits, roll cages. What about protecting the engine? Let's take a look here. Filters, oil filters that happen to circulate through the oil system to keep all the little debris out of the inside of the engine, or even an air filter, all the air that comes in through down into the carburetor, the dust and debris off the racetrack that can damage the inside of the cylinders or whatever. These air filters, just like you'd find on your passenger car, help protect these racing engines. Again, the inside of an oil filter, where all the debris, as it comes through the circulation of the oil, it can filter out the little microparticles that can damage the bearings and hurt the inside of the crank case itself. All of these things are designed for one thing and one thing in mind, is the longevity of your engine. So if you've got a good filtration system, it'll not only protect your race engine, it'll help protect your car that you drive every day. Guys?
Thanks, Jeff. Now Kevin LePage stayed out to lead a lap and now makes his pit stop. Michael Waltrip stayed out with him, but Waltrip did not get to lead a lap. He pitted with LePage. And the cars many laps down with damage also on pit road. Clint Boyer, J.J. Yaley, and Tony Stewart out and back into the race. Here is today's Allstate Good Hands driver, Kasey Kahne. I'll show you why. Traffic jam here. They're 3 wide. They're going to be 4 wide no matter. Just almost bank it off the wall. Drive on around the outside and make a clean pass. On behalf of Kasey, Allstate will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the Urban Youth Racing School from Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
We've got 36 cars on the lead lap right now here at lap 114 with 86 to go. Kyle Petty, Darrell and I kind of questioned what he was doing, but he stayed out on the apron till he had enough time to get to pit road to get those tires changed, and Kyle actually stayed on the lead lap. Right now he's back in 35th.
But Larry, the car on the screen, the 41 car, if no tires was a good strategy to get to the rain, I think 2 tires might not be a bad strategy to try to get to the rain.
As long as you got a good handling race car, and his car's been up there in the top 10, close to the top 10 most of the race.
Sorensen was 11th when he pitted. He is now the leader. He had a tough night last night in the Busch race in Kentucky. Crashed twice, the second one putting him out of the race. But he leads now with 85 laps to go as we go back to green.
There's no question as you look back over our grandstand here, it's getting darker and darker. And I know these crew chiefs are looking at it too, and they're saying, if you got them, use them.
You can see right there, over 160 miles per hour building speed through turn 1 and 2 going on to the back straightaway. Riding with Kevin Harvick here in the 29 car right now, battling Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch. He's in the 9th position right now.
Outside corner.
He's been pretty solid all day long. But you know, as we looked at Kurt Busch and the 2 cars, we've got a battle for the lead right now. 4 tires versus 2 tires. Kasey Kahne in the 9 on the outside of Reed Sorenson. Down the backstretch, I'm sure Kasey Kahne with his new red wheels, he will prevail.
Yeah, I like those red wheels.
And just as last week, Denny Hamlin had problems and had to fight his way back to the front. Kasey Kahne does the same today. Didn't take him near as long to get back to the front on this big, wide 2-mile speedway.
Just to update the fans that may have just joined us. Remember, Kasey Kahne, the 9 car, started on the pole, had a practice crash yesterday, major repairs to that car. On lap 47, had to make an unscheduled green flag stop for overheating. And here at lap 117, he has taken the lead back after all of that.
I'll tell you what, once he gets that bad boy out front, Kahne in the 9, Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle better step it up a notch because he is going to be on the move.
Greg Biffle in the 16 car drives to the outside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, trying to follow Reed Sorenson in the 41 car.
Dale Jr. is a smart racer, guys. I mean, he races just every. He doesn't want to overdo it. He races as hard as he needs to. But if you're better than he is, he'll get out of your way.
Seen him give that hand out the left side window a couple of times today down the back straightaway, and I think he's just basically telling that driver, you know, thanks for racing me smart here. I'm faster than you, and you told me where to go by you. Thank you.
Hand signals, people just don't realize how we just wave and give each other so many hand signals, and there's Biffle and Dale Jr. all the way down on the apron, which is perfectly legal here. There are no out of bounds. A lot of guys swoop down there late in the race trying to break the draft or the concentration of the guy behind them. Watch this. It's perfectly legal. You get a real strong run off the corner like Biffle did. Now you're going to drop down and get the draft off of Dale Jr.'s car, the 8. They go down on the apron. It's perfectly legal. There's no out of bounds. Shorter route. I mean, you run down the hill to get to the apron, and then you come back up in front of the car you're trying to pass.
2 weeks when we're in Daytona, Pepsi 400 will be illegal, but as you said, no out of bounds here.
Laps to go. Kasey Kahne out in front. And right now, Kahne is the fastest car on the speedway. Can he win from the pole again? Stay tuned.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AOL, is sponsored by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up. By Mobile Clean 5000, the official lubricants of NASCAR. It's seriously tough oil. By DLP Picture Technology from Texas Instruments. And by Coca-Cola. Thanks for drinking.
.76 laps to go in the 3M Performance 400. We are slowed again by a rain shower on the speedway. Kasey Kahne leading Carl Edwards. About 0.4 of a second apart as they came across the line. Here is Matt Kenseth, who has fought his way back up to 13th place after having an unlucky lap 13. He was trying to exit his pit as Bill Lester was pulling into the pit just in front of him. A lot of front end repair on Kenseth's car ensued. but he's fought his way back. Then he got up against Tony Raines and spun and had to fight his way back yet again. He did get one free pass to get back on the lead lap, and now he's climbed into the top 15.
That wasn't that many laps ago that he spun out. That was back on lap 66. And here we've got Mark Martin and a few cars pitting here, but I think most of the cars stayed out. I'm sure right now there's a mad scramble looking at the different weather maps and weather channels.
Yeah, Mark was back in 20th spot, so it's not a big surprise that he would come to pit road.
Joe Nemechek's team at work. Mark done and out of there. So evidently these teams don't feel that this is going to be a sustained rain that will be able to get this race restarted.
Be some good stuff if we do, because that's pretty smart to come in right now and get those tires.
Of course, this pit stop here, should we go back to green flag racing, and I think we will, this still will not get you to the end. So I think that's a lot what the guys up front were thinking. We got a little bit of flirting with rain. We can't make it to the end if we pit here, so let's just stay out.
Trouble on the 19 here.
This has been going on about every caution. They've had the hood up on the winner from the August race here last year, Jeremy Mayfield, the 19. So they've been making repairs on this car almost every time the caution has been out.
Dick Berggren.
Well, the problem is principally handling on the number 19 car of Jeremy Mayfield. They even have adjusted the camber on the car in an earlier pit stop. I mean, you see the mechanics coming back with big wrenches. That's not a good sign of a car that's handling well. He is running the back of the pack all day.
This has to be so frustrating for Ray Evernham, I'm sure, as it has been all year long. Again, Jeremy Mayfield, you know, making the chase the last 2 years. He's sitting way back in the points. And right now, the 9 car, Kasey Kahne, with 3 wins up there leading this race.
Here's a look at Kahne. Mayfield is still on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap. Only 2 cars out of the race, Kenny Schrader and Derek Cope. As we go down to Chris and Jeff for a Visa race break.
All right, thanks, Mike. A quick recap. We started 45 minutes late because of the rain. Kasey Kahne, the pole sitter. But on lap 22, Tony Stewart nudged by Jeff Grease going about 175 miles per hour. Tony fourth in points, had to go behind the wall and steamed, but got out to help repair his car. And 70 laps down, they did get the 20 car back on the track. The 2-time NASCAR champ. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jeff Gordon led 50 of the first 100 laps of this race, but Junior, who's led just 3, taking the lead here, leading 3 laps on Father's Day. We've had 10 leaders, 17 lead changes, including Kasey Kahne, who at one point was a lap down because of the debris on the grill, but has worked his way back up to lead this race. He is ahead of Carl Edwards with 74 laps to go, and this has been a Visa race break no matter what it takes. Remember, Jeff, that life takes a Visa, and this track takes another caution. We have our 9th caution flag that actually ties the record for Michigan. Of course, 3 of those have had to do with rain at different times in the race, so that's the question now. We've heard some of the crew chiefs talk about guessing when the rain is coming or more rain with storm clouds. What's the thinking at this stage of the race?
Right now, I think everybody's thinking track position, and unless you've got a real ill-handling race car, we saw a couple of cars come down pit road. They knew they needed to work on it to kind of move up through the ranks. The guys who are up front, you can believe one thing, they'll be staying up front and really watching this radar to make sure that they don't come down pit road inadvertently and give up a win.
Jimmie Johnson, who came in as the points leader, although that lead shrinking. Kenseth was making it a close race. Mike documented some of Matt Kenseth's problems earlier.
And the one thing I want you to notice right now, looking at Tony Eury Jr., they're talking, they're looking. I mean, all these crew chiefs right now are trying to get as much information. Where's the rain at? How far is it? How much rain are we going to have? Are we going to go back green? If we do, is there any more rain coming in behind that? That will help determine what you're going to do to your car and how hard your driver is going to run here. I mean, it's going to start putting a lot of pressure on a lot of these teams, but we are past halfway. If the rain hits here and stays, it'll be an official race.
And remember, as you get a look at Ray Evernham, and of course he has the lead car with Kasey Kahne, that there are no lights here. Of course, it stays light out till about 9:30 or 10 this time of year at this part of Michigan, but you have dark clouds rolling in.
Dark clouds rolling in, but we just heard a minute ago, we will be getting ready to go back to green, so the track must be clearing off. And again, that's what everybody's kind of watching. It looks like there's rain off in the distance, and let's see how kind of things
play out now.
Some Irish eyes are smiling in the Irish Hills. Casey Kane leads Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr. under caution. 73 laps to go here in Michigan.
At the races, you can take advantage of Nextel FanView. Keep up with your favorite driver lap by lap. Get his lap times, his point standings as of the moment, average speed, and listen to team communication, including the 3 minutes of most recent audio from your favorite driver. For more info, go to foxsports.com/Nextel FanView. Right now, you can look at the FanView screen, and the drops on it will show you that it is raining once again. But some of the interesting stats on there include these point standings, and note the man who right this moment is in 10th. Greg Biffle would move up 2 spots in the standings, displacing Kyle Busch from the Nextel Cup top 10.
Does that thing got radar on it? Maybe they could look on there and see where the rain is.
No, it works kind of like on the weather rock theory, Daryl.
Yeah. But here's the fight right here, and this is position 10 through 15, and I think right here, this is where the real fight's going to be, right in here. I think that's where the fight's going to be all the way up to the checkered flag at Richmond in 12 races.
And Denny Hamlin right this moment is only 20 points ahead of Biffle, and Harvick 40 points ahead of Biffle. So 8th through 15th is all pretty much in doubt as we look forward to Richmond.
And don't forget, we still got a long way to go till we get to Richmond. It's a long way down 95 to get to Richmond.
Reminds me of a song.
Yeah.
Now, as far as this red flag right here, you know, again, we've got 71 laps to go, but we are, 29 laps past halfway. So, right now they anticipate getting this race restarted. But who really would have to be smiling right now would be Jimmy Elledge, Reed Sorensen, the 41's crew chief. He made the call a couple of cautions ago to go with just 2 right side tires, got the track position, and right now he's sitting in 5th. Now, one guy, even though it's not a lot of positions that he has lost, but Mark Martin in the 6th car, one of the cars that opted to come to pit road, he has lost about 7 positions. I know that doesn't sound like a lot. You know what? In 12 races, we'll just have to see how many points that makes a difference.
Yeah, well, he was having a decent run. Now he's 27th. Bobby Labonte, who we talked about a little bit there before that caution, he's back in 28th. So those guys elected to come into pits, and who knows? Might not have been such a good idea.
Well, that'll happen at a place that's as wide as this when you have such frequent cautions. 9 ties the record, and you still have 37 cars on the lead lap. So you make the wrong choice, you go a long way back.
There's a young man right there that he's not been in a position that we've said a whole lot about in the FedEx uniform, Denny Hamlin, our winner and Bud Pole winner for Pocono. But right now, I think this is the type of day he was looking for here at Michigan. They have struggled. Their car has been loose all weekend long. His 2 teammates have been in trouble, J.J. Yaley and Tony Stewart. But right now, Denny Hamlin sitting in 12th. Remember, he moved in the top 10 in points last week. Denny may be one of those guys that says, let it rain, boys.
Hey, he's letting a smile be his umbrella after that win at Pocono.
You see Casey Mears there messing around with his future teammate. Dump a little water on him, which I don't think he'll notice.
That's right. We mentioned briefly earlier that Brian Vickers announced that he is leaving the number 25 team. He's going to go out on his own. We don't know what his plans are as of yet for 2007. And that seat did not grow cold when Rick Hendrick announced that Casey Mears would come on board and drive the 25 beginning in 2007.
But back to Casey Mears right now, he's sitting in the 7th position. If he can hold on to this top 10, he started the season off with 3 consecutive top 10 finishes, right up there actually in the top 5 in points. And he has not had a top 10 since then, so this would be a pretty good day for him.
Most of the cars pulled onto pit road to the red flag. One of them went straight to the garage to Steve Burns.
And Mike, Tony just got out of the race car. Tony, you guys are officially out. What happened on the racetrack, and how tough is it for you?
Well, I mean, it's not what we wanted by any means, but just got clipped in the left rear. It wasn't anything intentional by any means. Jeff was a little eager probably. We weren't even really running that hard. I mean, we were just kind of taking our time, and just every time we got too wide, it gave Jeff a run. But Jeff pulled up beside me there on the caution, kind of asked if everything was all right. I told him we're cool. So Jeff's a great guy. Him and I've always got along good, and there's It's just racing, you know. It's no big deal.
Tony, we saw you swinging the hammer. Is the shoulder blade okay?
Man, I was sitting there talking to the guys. Can you imagine what the bill for J.D. Gibbs is going to be when he gets the invoice from Greg Zippodelli and myself for fabrication work? I mean, our hourly rate's not cheap, so it's fine. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I feel really good. I don't feel good about the day, obviously, but physically I feel great. So just look forward to Sonoma next week.
Glad you're all right. We'll see you next week. Dick?
Jeff Green was the other party involved in that incident with Tony Stewart, and I have briefed Jeff Green on what Tony Stewart has had to say in that interview. You were walking back with Greg Zippodelli, Stewart's crew chief. What did you say to him?
I apologized. I mean, I don't drive that away, and I just got in a little bit over my head. My car pushed, and Tony held his line, and I got up into him. I hated it. I wouldn't do that away, anybody that away, and Tony's a good friend of mine, and I know he's racing for that championship and that top 10, and our Best Buy Chevy's really good at that point, and just probably a little eager, like he said, I guess. So just apologize to those guys, all those guys on that 20 car. They deserve better, and my guys do too, so I just made a mistake today.
Well, it's amazing how tempers cool down. I was listening to Tony Stewart just after that incident, and he was absolutely furious, but he's calmed down with a little bit of time, and all seems to be forgiven. Matt?
And Greg Biffle, winner of 2 of the last 3 races here at Michigan. Now, usually you just kill him down in 3 and 4, but today it's down in 1 and 2. What's wrong with 3 and 4?
Just a little bit tight down there, you know, and I was getting it there at the end. You know, I was overdriving the corner a little bit because this racetrack's so different at both ends, but I was really good in 1 and 2. Now, usually I'm pretty good down in 3 and 4, but I just needed a hot, sunny day. You know, my car shines in that kind of racetrack where it's slick, and after about 15 laps, the tires get slick, and off my race car goes. So this is bad news for me, these cold temperatures, and bunching the field up, caution after caution. But I tell you, the guys are doing a good job. We've adjusted on it some, and you know, just wish it wouldn't rain.
I know next week you've got a big production going on with a charity thing that's very special to you.
Yeah, we're announcing a sponsor for our pet calendar next week in Sonoma. We're really excited about that, and you know, we got a raffle going on, winbifflesbike.com. It's a chopper, custom-built chopper for raffle. We're going to give it away in Phoenix and raising money for all the pets and animals. So that's really exciting. I want to say hi to my dad. I know he's watching. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there watching today.
Big picture-wise, this is a great points day for you.
Yeah, it really is. I was asking where the 5 and 11 were there when it was raining like this, because it's going to take a while to drive this racetrack. Unfortunately, I think I have a car I can win with here, and it just breaks my heart that it's going to rain. If it had stayed green for 2 tire runs, green flag cycle, I think I could have had a pretty good lead.
Now, he started the day 27 markers out of the top 10 in the championship standings. If the race does not restart, he will leave here unofficially in the top 10, Mike.
Now, we know that one thing, and Greg Biffle and his crew chief Doug Richard is known for, besides running up front at Nextel Cup races, is Subway commercials. They just shot a new commercial. Greg threw 34 Subway sandwiches in Doug Richard's face before they got the shot they wanted. You don't think Doug Richard is a good sport?
Larry, that's why those crew chiefs get the big money.
I know somebody that Hammond and I could do that. I mean, did you see the deal we did with the pie?
Would he take 34 pies, though? Would he be that good of a sport?
It takes him about that long to catch on.
That you're throwing pies.
That you might be throwing a pie in. Hey, you know why Tony's not upset? Think about where we're going next week and who is the defending champion.
Little road racing with Tony Stewart as the defending champion.
You got that right, and I love that. Did you see that Happy Father's Day on a little crumbled up quarter panel?
Glad they got a sense of humor about it. Happy Father's Day.
Subway. Don't need no Subway. We got pie.
That's dessert.
Because you're wondering, lemon meringue.
But it was so good, guys.
In Brooklyn Hills.
71 laps to go, and under the red flag, we've had at least 3 interruptions or cautions because of that. But how about the strategy? And we've heard crew chiefs and drivers talk about it, at least racing the rain as well as the other drivers in this case.
Well, Chris, I'm still going to say the same thing. Everybody's watching to see where the weather's going to get out of here and what you need to kind of like look for long range or short range as far as the day's going to kind of play out. Now, the other part of the situation, and Darrell and Larry have been talking about guys running well if the weather does kind of, come back and we get a chance to go back to the green like Casey Kane. But the guy that I'm impressed with today has to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. Again, another one of those teams who struggled at racetracks just like this. He's led today. The team has been very consistent all year long. So I'm really kind of excited about where he's been able to kind of like stay up there and hunt all day long.
He would move up to 4th in points if things stay the way they are. And that's another reason, Biffle would be in the top 10. We heard from Greg a little bit earlier. Kyle Busch wants to get this restarted because currently he falls out. And you see more rain starting to fall. It is getting dark here. We've had the threat of rain all afternoon. That's Kasey Kahne. The camera's following him. It is official, and that's your winner. Kasey Kahne walking in the rain, pulling his hair back. And let's take you back if we could. So Kasey Kahne, your winner here in Michigan, rain shortened 129 laps. 5th win. He again wins from the pole. 4 of his victories have come from the pole.
I think right now he's definitely singing in the rain as far as he's concerned, because look, he's not got an umbrella. He's not worried about anything. His day is kind of like this, kind of like falling right where it needed to on that last pit stop, the most opportune time.
The guy with Click on his car, the movie Adam Sandler, who is the Grand Marshal, got things started today for us in Michigan.
Gentlemen, start your
Get Click with the cars. Adam, your Grand Marshal. After a 45-minute delay to the start of the race because of rain, things a little slick for Robbie Gordon. Spins out to bring out the first caution. Problem in the pits all day for a number of drivers. Matt Kenseth, who came in 2nd in points. Multiple pit stops. He had a little brush with Bill Lester, who was in this race. Lester's car suffering some damage. Kenseth later worked himself back up into the top 15, but more problems with him in a moment. Lap 22, Tony Stewart, who came in 4th in points. Incidental causing accidental results. Jeff Green, Tony Steen behind the garage, sat out for 70 laps, helped out to get back in. Set a union violation, but officially out of the race just as the rain came and the red flag came out. Meanwhile, Gibbs Racing struggling with one of 6 rookies in the race. That's J.J. Yaley with a rough hit. 4 drivers involved in this mishap. And Kenseth trying to maintain his comeback, spinning out, falling further back. Kenseth would work his way back up to 13th when this race was called. Jeff Gordon led 50 of the first 100 laps. He started on the front row. But there was a brief moment in the retro car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Father's Day taking the lead, led 3 laps on this day, and as Jeff pointed out, hung in there, currently running 3rd, but off pit road moments ago, taking 2 tires. Kasey Kahne in the Evernham Dodge edges his way back out, and ahead of Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the rain-shortened race here in Michigan.
If you don't believe that sometimes the races are won or lost off pit road, you take a look at that replay and you get a pretty good idea. As good a job as Kasey did, his crew came through when it counted.
Let's check in for some thoughts from Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Kasey Kahne is only the 2nd driver to win at Michigan from the pole in the last 21 races here. Jeff Gordon won this race 5 years ago from the pole, and this becomes the 3rd rain-shortened race here. August of '69 and June of '74 are the only prior races to fall victim to rain.
Tell you one thing, I'd sleep with that race car. That's its 4th win. If I was Kasey Kahne, I wouldn't let that thing out of my sight.
But Darrell, you've been talking about it all day long, even in the pre-race. I think the big smiles, besides from this 9 group, will come from the 8 group. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that group finished 3rd, led this race, and we watched him a while ago. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. Now we're headed to a road course. Now we're headed to Daytona, and that 24 group pretty solid. But congratulations to Reed Sorensen, Jimmy Elledge in the 41 car. You see it right there, finished 5th. His first career top 5 Nextel Cup finish, and who would have believed strategy played a little part in it.
Well, his teammates not far behind right there in 7th, Casey Mears as well. So good day for Ganassi, and they needed that because they really struggled at times.
So Kasey Kahne will go to victory lane. His 4th win of 2006, leading the league, and his 5th career win in 87 starts. It's the 4th time he has won from the pole.
And let's head down to, I guess, what is Victory Fountain in the garage area, and our Steve Burns. Steve?
Yeah, it's a makeshift winner's circle, Chris Myers. Casey Kane, what a great recovery by you and your race team, getting up into the wall in happy hour yesterday. What does it feel like to win here in Michigan?
It's pretty crazy, really, to win in the rain, you know, be in the right spot there at the end. But we did have the best car. You know, there was a lot of good cars, but we fought our way back to the front. The guys rebuilt my car from yesterday, and just pretty cool to get our Dodge Steelers, your AW Dodge Charger, back in victory lane.
Casey, you said you had the best car. Pretty confident if we had gone 200 laps, you would have been there at the end?
Well, I know we would have challenged for it. You know, I know Carl, Greg, the Hendrick cars were good. There's a few of them that were really good, and we were one of them at that point in time. So we would have challenged for it, but either way, we won, and happy Father's Day. My dad's here. First time he's been here for a Nextel Cup win for me, and all the fathers out there. Just a great weekend, and just proud, man. I'm excited. I can't believe we won in the rain.
Congratulations on your 4th win in 2006. We go to Dick Berggren.
With Junior, 3rd place. Have you ever had a stranger 3rd place finish than today?
Yeah, I'm sure I have. This ain't really all that strange. We had a great car, and on that run right there, we weren't good enough to win, but we had a car earlier in the race that was good enough to win. I asked them to tighten it up, and they tightened it up a little bit too much. So, but it is late, and we got a lot of things get done, get home, get to doing. But so we'll take a 3rd place. Real happy. I've never really had a good car here, that good, anyways. So we're really excited about coming back here in a month or so.
Well, we're excited about seeing you at Sonoma next weekend. Thank you. Congratulations, Matt.
A great big picture day for Carl Edwards, but it's always a gamble when you're battling the rain.
Yeah, big pictures. I always tell people I want a big picture of Victory Lane. You know, that's what I'd like. But first of all, happy Father's Day to my dad and all the other fathers out there. Had a great race, man. Our office depot Ford was really good, and my pit crew. I mean, coming back from the debacle there at Pocono to have great pit stops, and I guess Casey beat us out by about a foot, and congratulations to him. They did a great job.
And I know you and a number of other people were commenting about how close that battle was off pit road.
Yeah, I know. Well, when I started to realize how pivotal that was going to be, and as far as the outcome of the race, I said I'd really like to see that tape, and they showed it, and he definitely beat us. And you know, it's a good points day, but man, I want to get that first win for Wally and all the guys, and heck, but it was still a blast. I had a good time.
Carl Edwards, 2nd here at Michigan, and he's never finished out of the top 10 at MIS.
These are the unofficial race results, though. Casey Kane, your winner. Jeff Gordon winding up 8th. For Reed Sorensen, best career finish. Greg Biffle up there, 6th straight top 10.
We take a look right there also. Casey Mears right there, a strong run by him. And even Jeff Gordon, like I say, he was on his way back up through the field, but he had a little bit of a problem. Another strong run by Jeff Burton. And there you look and see Denny Hamlin, who won last week, up in 12th.
Brian Vickers ending up 17th. Dale Jarrett 20th. Couple of drivers who will be changing positions for next year, at least driving teams. Jamie McMurray back a little bit. Bobby Labonte had a good run.
Yeah, Bobby had things going his way, but then right there toward the end, he, like Mark Martin, I think, came down pit road, gave up some track position, and then the rains kind of got them in trouble.
Bill Lester winding up 32nd, an improvement over where he finished in Atlanta when he wound up 38th. J.J. Yaley, part of the mishap of Gibbs Racing, or the unfortunate day. And as we round it out, Tony Stewart, 3rd finish of 40th or worse this season, having problems since lap 22. The rain continues to fall, but Casey Kane will leave here a winner in Michigan. Don't leave us. We have a lot more to cover. Nice to have you with us for NASCAR on Fox.
Come on, baby, light my tires. Come on, baby, light my tires. Try to set the tires on fire. Yeah, baby. In honor of Casey Kane, I know it's too wet and he can't do the burnout. In honor of Casey, I dedicate that to him. Burnout to rain out.
Yeah, that's the only burnout you're going to see today, as this speedway is soaked. It is really pouring down hard. But Carl Edwards, 4 trips here, 4 top 10s. Casey Kane, we're coming back here again in August. He's going to look forward to that. Dale Earnhardt Jr., his first top 5 here in 14 starts. So a lot of good days for folks trying to move up. How about Greg Biffle? He's made it into the top 10, and it's been a long climb.
Well, it has, and it just shows, I mean, you never can give up. I think Matt Kenseth was a perfect example of that today. All these guys, Carl Edwards and Biffle, never give up because you don't. As far as you can get behind in a hurry, you can catch up in a hurry.
And speaking of Matt Kenseth, you just talked about him. Remember, we talked at the top of the show about chasing the weather. Here's a car that had damage on pit road. He spun out. He fought his way back to 13th. And with Jimmie Johnson finishing 6th, what could have been a disastrous day, he only gave up 26 more points to the 48 car, still only sitting 74 points behind that leader, Jimmie Johnson.
We come back here in August as we continue the race to the chase. Here are the points. You see Biffle's moved into the top 10, displacing Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin there in 9th. Jimmie Johnson padded his lead just a little bit.
I know today was a great day, and these guys are looking forward to coming back here in about a month and a half. But you know what I'm looking forward to? Pour the wine and cut the cheese, boys. We're going road racing next week.
I'll pour the wine, thanks.
All right, I'll cut the cheese.
I figured you would. Let's show you what's coming up ahead on NASCAR on Fox.
Next week, Fox goes west to wine country.
Oh, big trouble, big mess.
That's ugly right there.
Jeff Gordon will come off turn 12 and score his 8th road course checkered flag. 20th career win for Tony Stewart.
Then we go under the lights in Daytona, USA.
Jeff Gordon's DuPont Pepsi Chevy is going to win the Pepsi 400.
Join Fox for a USA birthday bash at America's most famous track. It's the Pepsi 400, Saturday night, July 1st, right here on Fox.
Tony Stewart won both of those races last year, the Pepsi 400 and the road course at Infineon Raceway in the wine country. Jeff, we have 11 races to go to the chase for the championship. And Jeff Gordon right now is just on the fringe on the outside looking in.
Well, I think right now going into Sonoma next week, we ought to see a really fierce battle between Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart as far as that track is concerned. But we also can't forget, when we go to the road course, we got road course aces coming out, like Boris said, Ron Fellows. So we're going to have some exciting racing next week out there in California.
And Casey Kane, the only driver with 4 wins this year, making a statement that he'll be a part of the championship chase on Father's Day. His father Kelly got him interested in racing. As a youngster, he owned sprint cars, raced in Washington. His dad actually built a dirt track in a field, and they lived on a farm to help him race. And Casey Kane making it pay off for his dad. Promotional consideration provided by these fine people. And it was lap 117 when Casey, of the 129 complete laps, took over for good, even though he started out on the pole. This rain-shortened race final at 258 miles. Casey in victory lane. Carl Edwards winding up second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. his first Michigan top 5 finish. We thank you for being a part of things. Next weekend, join us from the wine country for our entire gang, including producer Barry Landis, director Artie Kempner, coordinating producer Richie Zions. I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox, and happy Father's Day to all you dads out there.